Chapter 126. Well. Looking at the tiny little bee in front of him, Komatsu couldn't believe it for a moment. This little kid in front of him was actually the director of this food prison. He looked at Toriko and Ziming in disbelief, but saw that they had serious expressions and were looking back and forth in confusion. Mr. Toriko, what's wrong with you? Komatsu, look, it's a beauty. E=Omicron**. Komatsu turned around and looked at the director again. The little bee in front of him had turned into a long-legged lady, very charming. Toriko even had saliva flowing from the corners of her mouth, and her eyes turned into red hearts, as if she was possessed by Beiji. Only Ziming looked carefully from head to toe. He had to admit that she had a really nice figure, which was quite in line with his aesthetic taste. Get the gold achievement, Hormone Manipulator. Achievement reward, 1000 points. The director standing by also noticed Ziming's abnormality, so he simply cancelled his moves, and the next second, the three of them returned to normal. Hey, where's that beautiful lady from before? It's me. Later, Toriko also discovered something unusual. It was not a simple hypnosis, but rather a command from biological instinct. He was the first to be affected, followed by Ziming and finally Komatsu. This hallucinogenic skill is colorless and odorless. There is only one answer, and that is hormones. Apparently, this is the ability of the director in front of us. You've finally figured it out. As expected of Toriko. My name is Rab, and I'm the director of this food prison. People can manipulate hormones freely. What they just used on you were S**X hormones. Hearing this, Toriko suddenly realized that this was the case. Those execution beasts outside were probably also controlled by hormones. The characteristic of hormones is that they are colorless and odorless. They enter the nasal cavity silently and the person will be controlled by the hormones. However, what Director Lab was most curious about was Ziming. Not only was he free from the control of hormones, he was also immersed in hallucinations. He was indeed the person the director mentioned. Yes, Ziming took the initiative to go forward and feel it. On the one hand, he wanted to test his immunity to this kind of thing, and on the other hand, he wanted to see if his spirit could withstand it. Now he knows. I think it is because of the Sharingan that my spirit has been strengthened. Combined with the essence of the cells in my body, I can control it. My mind is extremely focused and I enjoy it naturally. After Toriko realized what was happening, he broke out in a cold sweat. It seemed that he had underestimated the world. If he had used a similar trick in the food industry, he might have been gone. As expected of Director Rab, there is no one in this world that you cannot control. Ah, Toriko, listen to me. There's still someone I can't control. No matter how I use him, he won't listen to me. That's Zebra-chan. Too handsome, too strong, too big, and it fits my aesthetic taste perfectly. Looking at Director Lab who was holding his face and laughing, Toriko couldn't help but cover his head. He probably knew why. After all, that guy is only interested in fighting and eating. As for other things, he has no interest. There's nothing they can do about it. They've lacked education in this area since childhood, and President Yulong is only interested in eating, so they naturally become like this. Deputy Director Ou Bang, who was standing by, also had a frown on his face when he saw this. He then said to the three people, the director's arbitrary opposition to Zebra's release from prison is simply a desire to keep Zebra by his side forever. After all, that's Zebra-chan. Director, the president also agreed to his release from prison. Of course I do, really. Afterwards, Director Lab took them to find Zebra, complaining about the president as they walked. Although Zebra eats many extinct animal ingredients, the new ingredients he discovered are no less than those discovered by Toriko, and some of his contributions are also very significant. There is no way, after all, Zebra's radar map can discover new ingredients in an instant. This is the advantage of controlling sound. Soon, they arrived at the execution ground of the prison, where many criminals were imprisoned, all of whom were extremely vicious, and Zebra was among them. Of course, there are still many execution beasts here, but the captured levels are all around dozens, and they are all captured by Director Lab, who controls the hormones. But to Zebra, they were all garbage. He had already eaten several of them. However, Ziming remembered that there were Netaros here, but they seemed to be small ones. After all, Netaros have cubs. After walking a few more steps and opening the heavy cell door, they arrived above Zebra's cell and saw the legendary Zebra. Get the gold achievement, Gluttonous Zebra. Achievement reward, 1000 points. 4 large iron chains locked Zebra's limbs, making him unable to move. At the end of the chains were 4 torture beasts. This was the same torture as being torn apart by 5 horses, except that the head was not locked. But this is no problem for Zebra at all. The 4 execution beasts are all little Karami to him. Zebra. I'm here to pick you up. Zebra-chan, we're about to have a long-distance relationship. Director, you two are not in a relationship either. Seeing that Zebra didn't move, Toriko suddenly realized something. He hadn't spoken a word since he came to the prison. Could it be that? Sure enough, the next second, the execution began. The 4 execution beasts began to pull the big iron chain, but then something tragic happened. Zebra suddenly stood up, his muscles bulging, and began to inhale. I've had enough fun with the execution beasts, let's end it here. What the hell? When Toriko saw him like this, she immediately asked Komatsu to cover his ears. Although he was stunned for a second, he still covered his ears. Sonic Rocket Launcher. Sonic Wave Cancelling Shield. At this moment, Ziming also released a protective shield to cover the 5 of them, perfectly offsetting the power of the Sonic Rocket. But the 4 execution beasts were finished, bleeding from all their orifices, having died from Zebra's attack. It was just right for him to have a snack. Director Lab looked at Zebra with love, not caring at all about the life or death of the execution beasts. But soon, Zebra noticed Ziming and found that they were not affected by him, and his expression was confused for a moment. Zebra, are you going to kill us? Ha ha ha, Toriko, you guys are fine, right? I don't know why, but looking at your silly look, it seems that the earth without me is pretty boring. Congratulations on your prosperity. Then, Zebra roared and broke his handcuffs, then walked towards other cells not far away. The people above were puzzled, but Ziming knew that he had to deal with those criminals who were secretly cursing him. Chapter 127. While Zebra was busy, Director Lab took them to the staff cafeteria to celebrate Zebra's release from prison. From this we can see that Director Lab truly loves Zebra. There were many delicious dishes on the dining table, but Toriko felt that it was still too little, so she asked Komatsu to cook some. After all, he had a lot of ingredients, and it would be a waste not to eat them. Seeing this, Ziming also sat at the dining table and started to taste the food. It tasted good, but looking at Director Lab standing beside him, he also made his own request. Director Lab, can you give me that Netero cub to eat? Hearing his words, Director Lab was a little confused. He didn't expect that he would ask for such a huge amount of food right from the start. Can Netero be eaten? The director was a little confused for a moment. But seeing Ziming's serious look, and remembering President Yulong's blessing, Director Lab immediately said to him, Demio. That's what the president left with me. If you want to eat it, you have to find the president. Okay. Director Lab's words made Ziming a little puzzled. Could it be that what President Yulong put in the food prison was a preparation for capturing God? After all, if we want to capture God, it seems that Netero will be needed to lead the way. I think it was President Yulong who saw the scene at that time and left it as a backup. Since you can't eat it, then don't eat it. After all, it's still there in the food pyramid. But you have to be a little careful not to eat the wrong person. Not long after, Komatsu finished serving the last dish. Before he sat down, Zebra came back, covered in blood. It seemed that he had taught those guys a lesson. When Komatsu saw him like this, he couldn't help but scream. Zebra looked too scary. Don't make a fuss over such a small matter, little brat. I might eat you up. Hey, could you please stop threatening my partner, you problem child? Toriko appeared, grabbed Zebra's hair and said to him. The next second, the 2 men started arguing, looking like they were about to fight. They grabbed each other's arms and banged their heads together, neither of them willing to give in. You guys are so noisy, can you let me taste the food? As soon as Ziming finished speaking, he came to the 2 men in an instant, swung his fists, hit Zebra and Toriko, and knocked them away. The 2 were instantly hammered into the wall of the beehive prison by him and were deeply embedded in the wall. The entire beehive prison also shook. One can imagine the power of Ziming's punch. He also knew the physical conditions of the 2 men, so he didn't use too much strength. The force was just right, enough to make them dazed but not to hurt their brains. Ziming then slowly sat down at the dining table under the gaze of others and began to taste again. On the other side, the two people who had just jumped out of the wall were also very confused. Toriko, this Ziming, why did he attack me too? Zebra, so strong, I can't even see clearly, he is a strong man, I am excited. Toriko, who is that Ziming, and how strong is he? He's very strong. Even my father was defeated by him. The key is that he only took a few months. After hearing Toriko's words, Zebra was completely excited. Defeating President Ichirio was the ultimate goal of the four brothers. They never thought that the invincible President Ichirio would be defeated one day. Before Toriko could react, Zebra rushed towards the restaurant, saw Ziming who was still eating, and punched him directly. Flying shovel counterattack. Nanny. Zebra was instantly knocked away by his own strength. This time, Ziming used a little more strength to knock him away, directly penetrating several layers of the walls of the gourmet prison and falling into the dead season forest. Stop it, don't hit me anymore. Toriko just came back and saw the figure being beaten away. He laughed for a moment. Well done, you're asking for death. I didn't even dare to provoke you, but you are so capable. Just when Director Lab was about to check on Zebra, Deputy Director Ou Bang showed up with bad news. Captain, a forest monster has appeared. And it looks like Zebra has fallen. What? My Zebra-chan? When Director Lab heard this, he immediately looked towards the windowsill, and found that countless ferocious beasts had appeared, and the turtle had also awakened. Lava turtle, reptile, capture level 70 below the honey prison is the dead season forest with 4 seasons, melting season, foggy season, freezing season, and the last season, which is now. During the melting season, countless magmas will appear, the temperature will rise to over 70 degrees, and the air can even burn human skin. During the foggy season, there will be particularly thick fog, which is also poisonous. If you walk in it without any precautions, your heart will stop and you will die within 3 breaths. During the freezing season, there will be blizzards that can last up to 3 months at a time. Not only will the temperature drop to -200 degrees Celsius, but all kinds of ferocious beasts will also appear. Finally, it is the beast season now. Millions of beasts will wake up from hibernation and start fighting for prey. The capture level is basically around 60, and the lava turtle is the best among them. But now, Zebra was knocked down by Ziming and fell in the middle of the beasts. He was very conscious and excited, 90% of which was because of Ziming. The giant lava turtle also came in front of him at this moment, and the surrounding beasts did the same, as if they also wanted to eat him. Zebra began to breathe in excitedly, and then began to roar. It was as if a scion exploded with anger, and the sound instantly spread throughout the entire dead season forest. The corners of his mouth also began to condense into something that kept changing. The next second, it was launched into the sky. Lightning noise. The ball of energy in the sky instantly produced countless lightning noises, directly hitting the surrounding beasts. Countless beasts fell to the ground instantly and died. But this move was obviously useless against the lava turtle. He directly fired the magma in his body towards Zebra. Zebra jumped directly into the air, took a breath again, energy began to gather at the corners of his mouth, and then he used his ultimate move. Sonic Nuclear Missile. The Sonic Nuclear Missile, which was like a tailed beast bomb, instantly hit the lava turtle, killing it instantly, and followed the footsteps of those beasts. And Zebra also returned to the top of the gourmet prison honey prison. But after using this move, Zebra felt good, but his body couldn't take it, especially his throat. Obviously, he was too excited and used too much force. Then Zebra calmed down and said something to Toriko at the window. Toriko, I need to moisten my throat after eating these guys. Then let's go and drink sweet cola. Chapter 128. Zebra is about to be released from prison. After this news is spread by a master in the divination town, the world falls into chaos. In this era of gourmet food, this is more shocking than a major earthquake or a meteorite hitting the earth, and more than these natural disasters. All over the world, countless countries at war have issued ceasefire agreements to deal with the fluctuations caused by Zebra's release from prison. The stocks of major companies continued to fall, and the market was in a mess. On the contrary, those who built shelters against nuclear bombs were doing a booming business. At the same time, the prices of ingredients in the wholesale market at the food center have also been soaring. Buyers have only one idea in mind: to get the ingredients first when Zebra tries to snatch them, and then sell them at a high price, so that there won't be anything left in the end. It is conceivable that the news of Zebra's release from prison had a huge impact. In just one day, the entire world suffered economic losses of trillions of dollars. Due to this turmoil, more than a dozen countries have declared bankruptcy and accepted assistance from IGOs. At this point, the chaotic world begins, and Zebra, who is in the vortex, has arrived at a food desert. As for how you got here, of course it was Li Ziming's teleportation. Your Kung Fu teleported here in an instant. Ever since he was beaten by Li Ziming, he had been very unconvinced, but after the instant teleportation, he calmed down instantly. Although he is aggressive and only thinks about food, he is not stupid. Zebra can still distinguish between what is important and what is not. After all, someone who can teleport from such a faraway food prison to a food desert is probably not so easy to mess with. Yes, Li Ziming didn't let them take the elevator. Although the view was nice, it was too boring. If they start practicing earlier, they can grow quickly, and most importantly, they can drink some sweet cola earlier. Get the silver achievement, the largest food desert in the world. Achievement reward, 100 points. After arriving at the desert courtyard, the four of them started to walk around. The temperature here soared to 60 degrees, not to mention the food pyramid. The temperature must be very high, and they needed some equipment to arm themselves. After all, the area of the desert garden is 3,900 square kilometers, which is the largest desert area in the human world. Of course, there are also many delicious foods. There are rice deserts made of natural rice, brown sugar deserts made of brown sugar, and even raisin deserts, nut deserts, and so on. Li Ziming just waited, and after getting the Coke, he took some and put it in his backpack. Unexpectedly, after he had taken just 2 steps, someone recognized Zebra and he was so scared that his legs immediately went limp. Zebra just stepped forward and looked at him face to face. "What are you looking at, kid? Believe it or not, I can punch you away. Please spare my life." "Well, introduce me to a good restaurant and I'll spare you." Toriko was speechless when she saw this scene. This happened just after he was released from prison. It seems that the TV will soon report that Zebra has arrived at the food desert. Komatsu also looked at Toriko with difficulty. After all, Zebra was a death row prisoner and had super hearing. How could he express his thoughts? But after looking at Li Ziming, he gritted his teeth and stamped his feet, and finally said to the two of them, "I still think it's a bad idea to let Mr. Zebra out. I don't see him reflecting on his behavior. He's still as irritable as ever. If we go together to capture Glycol Cola, I might not be able to trust him." Hearing this, the 3 people fell silent. But Li Ziming covered his head speechlessly, looked at Komatsu with a silly look on his face, and then said to him, "Komatsu, this matter was proposed by President Ichilong, and you are the chef. With your power, can you influence this matter? And Zebra has already been released from prison, why are you opposing it? Have you become inflated since becoming Toriko's partner?" At this time, Toriko, who heard this, also said to Komatsu, "I understand your concerns. After all, it's hard to trust someone. I also think it's not good for him to come out. After all, Zebra is a problem child. But it's not like Zebra is released from prison without conditions. He has to arrest 500 serious criminals and have 100 new ingredients. It's easy to discover new ingredients, but it's hard to arrest 500 serious criminals. Even I need several months, but I estimate that Zebra will be done in a few days. His ability is very practical." Komatsu was dumbfounded when he heard what Toriko said. He had always thought that Zebra was strong, but he didn't expect him to be so strong. It's over. Zebra must have heard everything that happened just now. And what Li Ziming said makes sense. As a small chef, it is a bit arrogant to say such things. For a moment, Komatsu was silent, and Zebra on the side continued to threaten him. The matter ended here, and Li Ziming took the 2 of them to tour the desert town. It was very hot here, and the streets were filled with sand. People coming and going were all wearing local costumes, but the 3 people who were not wearing local costumes became the focus of everyone's attention on the street. At first glance, they are obviously tourists, and tourists who haven't made a good travel plan. Who would travel shirtless in the desert? Soon, Komatsu was sweating profusely from the heat, but at this moment, the 3 of them saw a stall selling smoothies in the desert. "Boss, give me 3 smoothies." "Okay." Soon, 3 servings of smoothies appeared in front of them. Looking at the square pieces of sand in the cup that looked like sugar cubes, Komatsu was stunned. At this time, Toriko also put her hands together and began to explain to Komatsu, "This smoothie is a desert delicacy. It won't melt even in high temperatures. But it melts with just a little stimulation." As he spoke, Ziming also picked up his own portion and tasted it. It tasted icy and refreshing, just like ice cream. It melted with a light bite and felt like drinking a beverage. It had a unique flavor in this hot desert. Ziming finished eating in no time. How could he enjoy such delicious food alone? "Boss, where did you get this smoothie?" "This is the stuff I imported, but I heard from those people that it was somewhere in a food desert, I don't know the details." Ziming reacted immediately after hearing this. "That's right, there must be food deserts. It doesn't melt even in such a high temperature. It is obviously in an ordinary desert, not in a red desert. The temperature inside is so high that even shaved ice would melt." At this time, Toriko and Komatsu also finished eating. The 3 of them were unfamiliar with the city, so they asked the boss if there were any shops where they could arm themselves. "Yes, I have some right here. Do you want some?" "Sure, sure. Take it out and let us have a look." During the conversation, the boss took out a bunch of things from the back, including clothing with the characteristics of the food desert, headscarves and cloaks, which were both warm and heat insulating, and very cool to wear. However, Ziming still noticed a strange machine on the table. His name is Peru. Chapter 129. Looking at the Peru in front of him, Ziming immediately took it in his hand to check it out. He was quite cute. This Peru is the food amulet of this town. According to legend, holding it will bring good food luck, so this town is full of stone statues like this. Seeing this, Ziming bought the parrot directly from the store manager and handed it directly to Komatsu. "This is it. Peru, it's a talisman to protect you from any accidents, and it has other uses, too." Ha! Later, I learned from the store manager that many tourists had left because of zebra, and they were also preparing to close the business. If they wanted to rent transportation, they needed to go to a small town in the north, where they might be able to rent a mount. After saying that, the 3 of them walked over there. They could have ridden the somersault cloud, but this was the training of Toriko, Komatsu and Zebra, and he didn't intend to disturb them. Letting them skip that month's villa cable car ride would be the greatest kindness they could do them. Walking in the desert full of yellow sand, Ziming and Toriko were fine, but Komatsu felt a little hot, literally, it was too hot. Mr. Zebra, why don't you come with us? Don't worry about him, he will catch up soon." Soon they reached the town in the north, which was even hotter and lifeless, as if it had been destroyed by something. But the 3 of them still saw a house not far away with a sign saying camels for rent on it. There was an old lady downstairs who was also very surprised to see the 3 of them. "It's been a long time since we last met. Welcome to the food desert. Hello, we are here to rent a camel." "Of course you can, but there are only a limited number of recommended attractions right now." "Where are you going?" Toriko was about to speak when a voice appeared behind him. It was Zebra's voice, angrily yelling at the 3 people. The old lady in front of him also showed a surprised expression after seeing Zebra. The hidden residents in the town also came out to check after hearing Zebra's voice. "It's Zebrata. It's Master Zebra. The savior, Master Zebra, is here. What the hell, what's going on?" When Zebra saw the residents appearing in front of him, he was panicked for a moment. He had never been treated like this before. What was going on with these people? Komatsu, who was standing by, was also confused at this moment. He didn't understand why so many people here liked Zebra. Ziming saw this and explained to Komatsu, "This town is the remote territory of those countries, and this land in front of us must have been the land where countless lives were taken during the years of war. Zebra's release from prison has caused these countries to cease fighting. From now on, as long as Zebra is not in prison, those countries will not dare to start a war at will." Hearing Ziming's words, Komatsu was also surprised by Zebra's intimidation. Looking at the dilapidated houses and the crying old lady around him, he stood there in a daze. But at this moment, a big purple scorpion emerged from the sand not far away and attacked the crowd. Yakuta poisonous scorpion, crustacean, capture level 28. The moment the crowd saw it, they immediately fled in all directions, but there was a little girl who didn't make it in time and fell down. Ziming was not panicked at all, and then said to Komatsu, Komatsu, remember when I showed you zebra eating endangered creatures? Remember? The 26 species of creatures that were eaten to extinction by zebra were mostly biological weapons like the one in front of us, as well as dangerous creatures that wreaked havoc on the natural ecosystem. Biological weapons. Seeing that Komatsu was a little confused, the old lady next to him spoke up, saying that it was this biological weapon that attacked her town and most of the people were killed by him. And he is the biological weapon developed by the enemy country. Although the countries have ceased fighting, these biological weapons have not left the desert. During the conversation, the Yamada poisonous scorpion rushed towards the little girl. Seeing this, Zebra immediately used a sonic blade and flew directly towards the Yamada poisonous scorpion. The next second, the Yamada no Orokai was instantly broken into pieces. Inferior creature, don't get too carried away. Seeing this, nearby residents also ran towards Zebra excitedly. Without exception, they were full of admiration and gratitude towards Zebra. Before, Zebra stopped the war, and now Zebra has destroyed the biological weapons. It can be imagined that at this moment, he has become the hero of the whole town. You guys, you have to get used to me. Afterwards, Zebra gave the fragments of the Yamada no Orokai to the villagers in front of him, on the one hand so that they could eat them, and on the other hand so that they could eat them to vent their hatred. Seeing this, Toriko also went to help, while Li Ziming flew into the sky and turned on a sonic radar. It was because he knew that there must be more than one of this kind of biological weapon. Sure enough, he was right. There were actually 5 Yamada no scorpions distributed throughout the desert. In order to prevent this area from being invaded by biological weapons again, Li Ziming chose to take decisive action and prepare to clean up the desert. After all, he, Li Ziming, hated biological weapons. This was a mark engraved deep in his soul. When the sonic radar detected the 5 of them, Li Ziming teleported over and dealt with them, thus eliminating the trouble for the town forever. After a short while, 140 points were obtained. Although it was a little less, it was still not a small amount. Kill 5 Yamada scorpions and gain 140 points. When Li Ziming returned to town, he found Zebra and Komatsu together, probably having a friendly conversation. He came directly to the old lady and handed the Yamada poisonous scorpion to her for disposal. Seeing so many Yamada poisonous scorpions appear, she was so excited that she shed tears. Thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have known there were biological weapons in the desert. I don't know how to repay you. It's a small matter. You can live a normal life from now on. Thank you. At this time, Toriko also came over and wanted to rent a camel to go to the food pyramid. But when he heard where they were going, he immediately panicked and immediately dissuaded them from going. After all, the food pyramid is one of the 7 wonders of the world. The key lies in the red desert maze desert labyrinth surrounding the food pyramid. Many food hunters have gone in, but no one can get out. Don't worry, we know that you are facing Toriko, one of the 4 heavenly kings of gourmet hunters. If even he can't get in, then 99% of the gourmet hunters in this world have already gotten in. This ha 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 ha, what a place where people get carried away. Let me go and see it for myself. After hearing their conversation, Zebra on the side came over and said. Anyway, hurry up and prepare the camels, we are about to set off. Okay. Chapter 130. Sitting on water storage camels and eating the meat of Yamada scorpions, Li Ziming and his group strolled in the hot desert. In the face of her benefactor Zebra, the old lady rented them the town's only water storage camel, as well as a wine camel. As the name suggests, the water-storing camel no longer stores fat in its hump, but water, a rare resource in the desert. It also has a corresponding faucet so that people can get water to drink. On the other side, the red wine camel produces mellow red wine, which tastes very good. Toriko and Komatsu sat on the water camels, while Zebra sat on the wine camel. As for Li Ziming, he naturally didn't want to sit with Zebra, so he summoned a somersault cloud and slowly followed them, drinking some crystal coke from time to time, which made Zebra drool. Seeing this, Li Ziming also took out a bottle of crystal coke and threw it to Zebra, scaring him so much that he almost dropped his grip. For me. For you. Too cunning, I want one too, Ziming. Okay, everyone gets a share. Then he took out 2 more bottles and threw them to Toriko and Komatsu. It must be said that in such a hot place, drinking a bottle of cold, delicious, and bubbly cola is such a wonderful thing. Seeing them happily drinking coke, Li Ziming also said to them, this crystal coke is so delicious, but I heard that coke is several times more delicious than this. Zebra's eyes lit up when he heard Li Ziming's words, is this true? Toriko, speed up. Slow down, Zebra. Seeing the two camels speeding up, Li Ziming also smiled. It turned out that only proper encouragement could stimulate their appetite. But in his heart, he was also looking forward to the taste of sweet cola. After all, who can refuse a cup of cola? At this speed, it would obviously only take them half a day to reach the Red Desert. However, by then, it would be night, so they should rest for a night and take action tomorrow. Now, it was too boring to move forward, but at this moment, Li Ziming took out the map that the old lady gave him. After seeing his own strength, he also wrote down the resources in the food desert here. In addition to the rice desert and the brown sugar desert, this desert actually contains carbon and rare earths, which are strategic resources for the country, and there is even a gem desert. Not only are there various gems, but it is said that there is also a skull cave with various crystal balls inside. Not only can they produce ingredients, but some are even natural dishes. Li Ziming is very interested in it. With these desert temptations, Li Ziming came to the three of them, I'm going to be away for a while to explore the surrounding desert. Please be safe. Nanny, take me with you. Seeing Toriko's excited face, Li Ziming directly refused. After all, Toriko came here to capture coke and practice at the same time. Then he said to Toriko, remember to adapt to the environment, Toriko, don't forget what you are here for. Arriving at the Red Desert as soon as possible will be beneficial to your cultivation. Moreover, the heat of the food world can happen anytime and anywhere. Okay, go ahead, and remember to bring us some delicious food. Don't worry, you guys will be there. After saying goodbye to the three people, Li Ziming took off directly. Standing at an altitude of 10,000 meters, overlooking the entire food desert, he was immediately attracted by a circle of red desert. He thought that it was the Red Desert, and the food pyramid was in the middle of it. Then he looked around and saw a white mass, which he thought was the rice desert, and next to it was a black mass, which was the brown sugar desert. After thinking about it, Li Ziming flew over to check it out and soon arrived above the rice desert. Looking at the crystal clear, snow-white rice that was dried by the sun, he felt it looked good and stuffed it into his system backpack. Then comes the brown sugar desert. Pick up a piece and put it in your mouth to taste it. It is full of caramel flavor and very sweet. I feel like you can put a piece of it when drinking coffee, which will give it a different flavor. After loading some, Li Ziming flew towards the gem desert, but he unexpectedly encountered a food desert filled with fried noodles on the way. The fragrant fried noodles actually appeared in the desert. It seemed to be a natural delicacy. I took out my chopsticks and took a bite to taste it. It was quite delicious. The sauce is rich and sizzling in the sun. Each noodle is very chewy and springy. It is so delicious. It seems that this food desert really has everything, even fried noodles desert, which is really amazing. After collecting some of them, Li Ziming flew towards the gem desert again. Soon, he saw the sparkling gems. Ruby, citron, emerald, amethyst, diamond, jadeite, aquamarine, and so on. There are all kinds of gems here, and each one is big, shining brightly, just like being in a KTV. Although Li Ziming didn't really need them, he still took some. Selling them or giving them away would both be good choices. After all, each of these gems weighed dozens of carats. I feel that after tens of thousands of years, it might become even bigger, and maybe after combining with the gourmet cells, it could become a new gourmet demon. Gem man, it's a good idea to think about it. Moreover, next to this gem desert, there is actually a piece of golden sand. After Li Ziming went there, he found that it was actually gold sand, and a large piece of it. Obviously, this was actually a gold sand desert. Looking at this golden desert, Li Ziming suddenly got a second-year syndrome. He came to the middle of the golden desert and started to do some cool things. Li Ziming used the trigger to touch every grain of gold sand, imitating the magnetic escape technique and controlling the gold sand. Magnetic escape, great burial of gold and sand. Boom! Looking at the power he created, Li Ziming was satisfied. A big pit had appeared in the middle of the original gold sand desert, and the gold sand inside had begun to melt and turned into liquid gold. Fun, fun, play more if you like. After taking away some gold sand, Li Ziming left the place. After all, there was no delicious food here. He came here just to take a look. As for the carbon desert and rare earth desert, Li Ziming didn't plan to go there. He didn't need them. Li Ziming randomly picked a direction and flew towards it. Along the way, it was time to compete for food. So, what kind of ingredients will appear? He is very much looking forward to what kind of desert he will encounter. While flying, Li Ziming didn't see the desert, but he saw a group of camels. He thought they were water storage camels, which could be delivered to the residents of the desert town. Who knew that when he flew closer, he found that it was actually an ice cream camel. The hump on it had turned into ice cream, and the air was filled with the scent of vanilla. Ice Cream Camel, Mammalian Capture Level 10. Chapter 131. Li Ziming looked at the ice cream camel in front of him and said it was impossible for him not to want to eat it. After all, who wouldn't be curious about the camel's hump? It's all about ice cream. I counted them and found there were 5 ice cream camels in total, each with a different color, obviously a different flavor of ice cream. If you come across ice cream, then eat ice cream. When he landed in front of the camels, Li Ziming found that these ice cream camels were not afraid of him and had no intention of attacking him. He took 2 steps towards them and they also walked towards him, sniffing left and right, and were very curious about Li Ziming. Seeing this, he also took out the cabbage from the vegetable sky. Seeing the green cabbage appear, the ice cream camels surrounded it instantly. After taking a bite, his eyes lit up and he began to chew the cabbage in big mouthfuls. Li Ziming was also very happy when he saw this and took out a few more and handed them to the other camels. After tasting it, they were also very excited. Then they ate the cabbage, turned their ice cream humps towards him, and called out, "You let me eat delicious food, and I let you eat delicious food." Li Ziming also instantly understood the meaning of the cry, then took out a spoon and began to taste the ice cream hump. It tastes icy and sweet, and has a strong vanilla flavor. It feels much better than the smoothies I've had before. I turned around and tasted other camels. This one was strawberry flavored, this one was chocolate flavored, and each ice cream was delicious. I have to say, eating ice cream in this hot desert is really a pleasure. Soon, Li Ziming finished eating all the humps of the 5 ice cream camels, one bite after another. This group of camels also received vegetable supplies from Li Ziming. They ate radishes, cabbages, and watermelons and were very happy. He also found that as the ice cream camel ate vegetables, the hump on its back was slowly recovering, which obviously took time. Li Ziming felt relieved when he saw that the ice cream he had eaten had no impact on the camels. After leaving some vegetables behind, Li Ziming waved goodbye to them and headed to the next location. Since there are camels here, there must be cacti as well. After all, the staple food of camels in the desert is cactus, which can not only supplement dietary fiber but also replenish water. Not to mention there are other ingredients to eat. The air dance technique was activated and Li Ziming flew into the sky again. Sure enough, there were green vegetation in the direction where the ice cream camel came from. But after he flew over, he found that something seemed wrong. This was still a cactus, but there was a big flour bag on it. And can you believe that there are popcorns all around these cacti? Could this be a popcorn cactus desert? Popcorn cactus, natural plant capture level 24. Sure enough, this turned out to be a natural plant. The exploding buds were actually cactus seeds. Like corn, they exploded directly after being exposed to high temperatures. After Li Ziming came down, he picked up a popcorn and tasted it. It was quite delicious. There is no other taste when you put it in your mouth, it is slightly sweet, and it feels like eating cactus fruit. It is very refreshing and not like baby popcorn. You will want to eat more after you eat it. It is also good as a snack. Li Ziming simply collected a large piece of popcorn, dug up a popcorn cactus, and immediately teleported back to the vegetable sky. Typing, who was busy at work, was also shocked when he saw Li Ziming appear, and hurriedly tried to comfort his weak heart. "Ziming, could you please tell me next time you show up? Otherwise I'll be scared to death. Just get used to it. I'll always be by your side. Okay, help me find a place to plant this popcorn cactus. I think this popcorn is pretty delicious." "Okay." Li Ziming glanced at Typing, and sensing that nothing was wrong in vegetable sky, he headed back to the food desert. Seeing this, Typing looked helplessly at the cactus that was more than 10 meters high, picked it up, and walked towards a place not far away. Li Ziming returned to the food desert and chose a direction to fly again. Familiar scenes appeared around him. Li Ziming soon noticed something unusual. In addition to the food pyramid, there were actually ruins in this desert. But when he flew over, he found that these were not ruins at all, but piles of sweet potatoes, and the skin was baked crispy by the sun. They were all roasted sweet potatoes. Stonewall sweet potato, natural ingredient capture level 1. Looking at this sweet potato wall that is more than 100 meters high, Li Ziming was very curious. Who piled it up here? Not only did it look like a relic, it also scared him. He thought Netero was sleeping here too. Li Ziming then took a sweet potato and started eating it. He peeled off the skin to reveal the orange, roasted, sweet and delicious sweet potato flesh inside. It melts in your mouth and is sweet, just like eating honey, but it feels a little different. As I was eating, it became drier. It felt like eating dried sweet potatoes, and the texture changed from soft and glutinous to very chewy. In no time, Li Ziming finished a roasted sweet potato. He was very satisfied with the ingredients and saw that there were many similar Stonewall sweet potatoes here. He picked the sweet potatoes on the stone wall in front of him and put them all into his system backpack to eat them slowly later. After loading these Stonewall sweet potatoes, the sky gradually darkened. After sensing for a while, Li Ziming discovered that Toriko, Zebra and Komatsu had reached the border of the Red Desert in just one day. After saying that, Li Ziming teleported back. At this moment, the three of them sat around the stove and began to cook the captured ingredients. They were very surprised to see Li Ziming come back. "You're back, Ziming. What good stuff have you found?" "Some popcorn and sweet potatoes, both are delicious, this is not." After that, Li Ziming took out the popcorn cactus and Stonewall sweet potatoes and handed them to them for tasting. After eating them, the three of them also fell in love with this refreshing taste. I felt the surroundings. In other deserts, people wear cotton jackets in the morning and gourmet clothes in the evening, but in the food desert, the temperature is still the same and it is still so hot. Especially in the Red Desert, the temperature is still high, reaching 80 or 90 degrees, and there are many wild animals coming out to hunt at night. The four people stood on the periphery and looked into the distance. They could see many huge beasts and a tornado formed by the heat. Fortunately, they were doing okay here. They had rushed over after a long time. The water-storing camels were also very tired. Li Ziming couldn't bear to see this, so he took out some fresh vegetables and fed them. But at this moment, a ferocious beast suddenly flew out of the Red Desert and flew towards the four of them. Its entire body is long and yellow-green, very much like Rayquaza, but it has two long whiskers around its mouth. Royal Flying Snake, Reptile Capture Level 30. Chapter 132. Li Ziming looked at the royal flying snake attacking the four of them and felt inexplicably familiar, but since it was here, he decided not to leave. Soon, the royal flying snake arrived in front of them. Li Ziming saw it and captured it directly with a trigger, and threw it down the next second. I have to say that this royal flying snake is quite large. It feels like Rayquaza, and its two whiskers are very well matched. Capture the royal flying snake and get 30 points. The three people standing by were also very surprised to see Li Ziming capture it. They just happened to be short of some food, so it flew over to give it to them. Li Ziming went over to check it out and felt it was very good. The texture of the meat was a bit like eel and very chewy. Instead of letting Komatsu take action, he planned to cook the ingredient himself just because he felt a sense of familiarity. As he spoke, Li Ziming took out a knife and began to dissect it. The more than 10-meter-long body was more than enough for 4 people to eat. Soon, the royal flying snake was dissected into several large pieces by him, and Li Ziming also thought of how to eat it, which was to stir-fry it in hot oil. Take out the kitchen knife and slice the royal flying snake meat, then take out the peppers and garlic picked from the vegetable paradise, cut them into slices and set them aside. Then take out the morse oil, heat the oil in a pan, then add the chili and garlic and stir-fry until fragrant, then add the chopped flying snake meat. A fragrance wafted out, attracting the attention of the 3 people. The golden slices of meat kept turning in the pot, looking very tempting. After a simple seasoning, the spicy eel is freshly cooked and it's time to taste it. The 4 of them briefly tasted it and found it very chewy, and paired with the flavor of chili, it made them more and more hungry. Unlike ordinary eels, the meat of the royal flying snake has no strange taste. It is all muscle and feels similar to a snake, but tastes like chicken, fresh, fragrant, tender and delicious. After a short while, the 4 of them finished the pot of royal flying snake meat, but it was obvious that they were not full. The 3 people's eyes were instantly fixed on Li Ziming. Seeing how hungry they looked, how could Li Ziming satisfy them? Especially Komatsu, it's decided by you, the 6-star chef. Li Ziming simply handed over the cooking process to Komatsu and just sat back and waited for the food to be served. It didn't take long for Komatsu to successfully replicate the spicy eel. After tasting it, it tasted even better than before, and it's worthy of being known in 6-star street. After taking a bite, Zebra showed a look of surprise. He thought Toriko's partner was extraordinary, but he didn't expect him to be so powerful. Half an hour later, a huge royal flying snake was eaten by the 4 people. Li Ziming also stood up and said to the 3 people who were resting on the ground, "Tomorrow you will enter the Red Desert area. I will temporarily leave you and let you deal with the crisis on your own. Of course, I still say that I will not take action until the last moment." No. Seeing that the 3 understood, Li Ziming also prepared to go to bed. When he woke up the next day, he would sit on the somersault cloud and watch the 3 from afar. But after taking 2 steps, Toriko called him, "Ziming, you didn't come to the food pyramid just to drink sweet cola." "Oh, you guessed it. What on earth is inside?" Hearing Toriko's question, Li Ziming thought about it and then told her his goal. "My target is Netero inside." As soon as these 3 words came out, the 3 people in front of him instantly widened their eyes. They really didn't expect that there was Netero in the Gourmet Kanazawa Tower. Could it be the one from last time? No, it's weaker than that one. With your strength, you should be able to defeat it. Ho ho, it seems like you guys have also encountered something incredible. Looking at Zebra who was sneering, Toriko told him everything she had seen and learned in the vegetable paradise. Now it was Zebra's turn to be silent. At the same time, he was also getting excited. The higher the capture level, the better the taste, and Zebra was really looking forward to meeting it. The chat ended here, and the 4 of them returned to their tents to rest. The darkness completely enveloped the food desert. As the temperature continued to rise, the 4 of them got up immediately, and after a brief rest, it was time to get serious. Looking at the red desert not far away, Toriko, Zebra and Komatsu set off towards that place together. Li Ziming called upon the somersault cloud and watched them from afar. When the 3 of them entered the red desert, an accident was bound to happen. Sure enough, when the 3 of them sat on the water camels and entered the red desert, they felt an unprecedented heat. Toriko also noticed that this environment was very similar to the environment she had experienced in the food industry before. But then he realized that with Komatsu's physique, it would be difficult for him to survive in such an environment. Just as he was about to remind him to drink water, he saw the empty seat with the backpack. At the same time, countless pits and quicksand appeared around the 2 of them, but what was more serious was that the 2 camels fell down, apparently due to the heat. But after they steadied themselves, countless ferocious beasts appeared in front of Toriko and Zebra, each with a high capture level. Let them deal with these monsters slowly. Li Ziming quietly put the 2 camels on the somersault cloud, gave them water to relieve themselves, and then sent them back to the old lady so that she could take a rest. When he came back, he saw that Toriko had also knocked down the beasts, and Zebra had also opened the echo map. "Zebra, have you found Komatsu?" "Found it. It's very far away from us, and it's getting farther and farther away. Kira was taken away somewhere by the quicksand." After speaking, the 2 were stunned for a moment, and suddenly thought of something. After looking at each other, they were also shocked at Komatsu's luck in eating. "I was planning to go there slowly, but who would have thought that I would be carried across by the quicksand? Follow me, Toriko, we need to hurry over there, there are a lot of ferocious beasts over there. Let's go." Seeing the 2 people walking towards the food pyramid, Li Ziming nodded involuntarily and put a shield on Komatsu. I have to say, Komatsu's luck with food is simply outrageous. He is worthy of being the world's darling son. He was supposed to practice heat resistance, but now he doesn't need to practice anymore and goes directly to the food. Shaking his head, Li Ziming also flew to the top of the food pyramid and began to fly downwards. The moment he came down, he opened Zebra's echo map, and the whole picture of the food pyramid appeared in his mind. This is not a pyramid at all, it's clearly the eaves of a super large building. Get the gold achievement, the ruins of the gourmet nobility. Achievement reward, 1000 points. Chapter 133. Li Ziming was shocked when he saw the full picture of the food pyramid. Although he had known it for a long time, he was still shocked when he actually saw it. It is worthy of being the place where the gourmet aristocrat Netero sleeps. It is high-end and luxurious. However, even in such a luxurious place, there are only 2 Neteros sleeping there. Li Ziming did not expect that. Li Ziming arrived at Netaro's place in a flash and looked at the coffins around him. Although there were many coffins, there were only 2 dried Netero inside. I think the other Netero have either been awakened or are gone. After all, the ones sleeping here are basically red Netero. The 2 in front of us, one is the gourmet sage Kaka, and the other is Netero who attacked Komatsu in the original work. Their identities have always been a mystery. But since no one knows, no one will care if you eat it. It depends on whether you can eat it or not. But the key point now is that the 2 in front of us are not dead yet, they just entered the sleep mode, and they look dry. When they pushed open the coffin, they saw only dried Neteros. But then Li Ziming discovered the difference. One of them actually looked quite handsome, while the other was completely dry. At first glance, Li Ziming discovered who Kaka was. After all, his appearance was the easiest to recognize, and he looked like Sunny in Netero. Now that we have distinguished them, it will be easy to deal with. Li Ziming directly took out a bottle of water and dripped it into Kaka's mouth. The next second, the dry Kaka suddenly had a heartbeat and his body gradually moved. It slowly opened its eyes, then stood up tremblingly. When it saw Li Ziming, it immediately opened its mouth wide and attacked him. After Li Ziming noticed something was wrong, he immediately gave it a big fight, which made Kaka confused. At this time, Li Ziming also realized that Kaka was not fully awake yet and had not eaten the food yet, so he let his gourmet cells gradually wake up. Then he took out the fried noodles, popcorn and Stonewall sweet potatoes he had picked up earlier, and stuffed them into Kaka's mouth. Then he took out a large amount of soda water and rainbow juice for Kaka to drink to replenish water. I saw it immediately start to eat with gusto, eating so much that it made a lot of noises. Kaka ate quickly, and his dry body responded by gradually swelling up. But the swelling was not too extreme, it just returned to its normal shape. At the same time, Kaka's eyes gradually brightened, and he was obviously in charge, keeping his appetite in his heart. Gradually, it stopped the urge to continue eating and looked at Li Ziming. "Who are you and why did you wake me up?" "It doesn't matter who I am, what matters is you, gourmet fairy Kaka, you are me." Kaka was very surprised at this moment. How did Li Ziming know his identity? Could it be that he was sent by those people? "Why wake me up? I won't do anything for you." Seeing Kaka's look, Li Ziming knew without hesitation that it thought it was from Blue Netero's side, and he couldn't help but laugh. "Don't worry, I'm not on Blue Netero's side. I'm not your enemy either. You'll understand once I tell you about me." "Who?" "Yulong." Hearing the familiar name, Kaka let down his guard. It turned out that Li Ziming was from Yulong's side, and his friend Kikai was Yulong's partner, so he should be one of them. Let Kaka continue to eat and recover, while Li Ziming curiously asked who was in hibernation in the coffin next to him. But Kaka seemed very confused after hearing this. There was actually something else in the place where he was sleeping. After walking out of the coffin, it came to another Netero. Looking at the Netero in front of it, Kaka didn't recognize him, but what he knew was that it was also a red Netero. Hearing this, Li Ziming was instantly happy when he found out that Kaka didn't recognize him. It looked like he was a slave of Blue Netero. Never mind, as long as he wasn't someone in the camp, it would be fine. Ever since he saw Kaka and the other Netero, countless appetites ignited in Li Ziming's heart, and then were devoured by the Sharingan. If he eats it, his Sharingan will probably evolve. Li Ziming is looking forward to seeing what powers it will have then. But now is not the time to eat it. Master Jiro is an expert in cooking in this area. I can take it back and ask him later. Moreover, it was a bit weird to talk about eating red Netero in front of Kaka. Although some Netero could be resurrected, it would take thousands or tens of thousands of years. You just revived. I can take you to any place you want to go. Or, if you want to continue eating, I can also take you to Yulong's place. There are many people cooking there, so you can eat to your heart's content. Hearing this, Kaka, who was eating at the side, became conflicted. For a moment, he didn't know what to do. In the end, he decided to go to Yulong to learn about the situation of this era. After hearing this, Li Ziming also started looking for traces of President Yulong. He was still in the human world and eating at the dining table. What a coincidence! In the blink of an eye, they came to Yulong's side. When he saw Li Ziming appear, he didn't take it seriously, but when he saw Netero behind him, Yulong stood up immediately. "You are Kaka." Seeing Yulong like this, Li Ziming felt relieved and let the two of them chat on their own. "Since you know him, it's easy. I'll leave him to you, Uncle Yulong, as he just woke up. Li Ziming then teleported back and looked at the other red Netero in the coffin. He thought that he was also a slave of the blue Netero before. As the final training tool for Toriko and Zebra, Li Ziming plans to strengthen their strength a little bit more so as to stimulate their maximum potential. After closing the lid, Li Ziming just walked inside. If he remembered correctly, the cooking book was there. Sure enough, after walking through the tunnel, I saw a shining table, and on it was the cooking book. This book is no ordinary one. It was written by the food fairy Gigi. As the chef of gold, one can imagine his cooking level. Most of the ingredients in the food pyramid are special dishes, and the ones listed above are the perfect cooking methods. Li Ziming picked it up and looked at it. He couldn't understand it at all. The messy text above was probably something only Netero would use. Li Ziming tried to express his gratitude by reading it carefully, but it was of no use. He still couldn't understand what he shouldn't understand. It seems that Komatsu has to come. With his luck in eating and his skills, he is the perfect candidate to learn these techniques. After turning on the echolocation, Komatsu saw that he had arrived at the food pyramid. Chapter 134. When Komatsu was washed to the food pyramid by the quicksand and lay in the quicksand, Li Ziming also put up a shield for him when he was engulfed by the quicksand. Now that he had woken up, he looked at everything around him in panic. Unexpectedly, he encountered a monster before he had taken 2 steps. Li Ziming saw this and was about to go over, but Zebra's roaring bomb scared the beast so much that it fled, and Komatsu didn't know what was going on. But the next second, Zebra's voice came, "Kid. I have limited energy. I will just say one word. You are now at the bottom of the food pyramid. We have arrived now. What you have to do is not to let yourself die. Another thing is to think about catching the food on the sweet cola." "Okay, I got it, Mr. Zebra." Li Ziming heard the conversation between the two clearly. It had to be Komatsu. His cooking skills were superb and even Zebra became interested in him. But as he finished saying this, Zebra also entered a period of energy exhaustion. He could not speak, and the echo map was closed. He could only restore the energy in his body to speak normally and use his moves. Back to the topic, Komatsu began to explore at this moment, trying to find an exit or a safe place before Toriko and Zebra found him. Some say he was lucky as he was directly sent here by the quicksand. Some say he was unlucky as he just took 2 steps and turned the corner to meet a ferocious beast that wanted to eat him. Why does he feel the same as Tang Seng? Parasitic Snail, Mollusca Capture Level 38. The next second, the parasitic snail began to attack Komatsu, scaring him so much that his legs went limp, but the parasitic snail's attack was in vain. Because not only did Li Ziming put a shield on Komatsu, but Zebra also put a shield on him, and Zebra even left him a message. "Listen carefully, kid. Treat all the beasts as food. You are a chef, so you must use the weapons in your hands appropriately." After hearing this, Komatsu was also very surprised. Looking at the parasitic snail in front of him, he was still very scared, but when he thought of Toriko and Zebra's awareness, he also wanted to prove himself. Then he took out the milk kitchen knife, gradually calmed down, and looked at the parasitic snail with firm eyes. "I'm going to cook you." At this moment, the parasitic snail was dumbfounded, as if it was facing not a human being, but the Dragon King Dilarius. Although the breath was very weak, it scared the parasitic snail so much that it turned and ran away. But the next second, Komatsu swung his knife at it. A huge blade appeared and cut everything in front of him in half, but unfortunately, he closed his eyes when he swung the blade and missed the parasitic snail. His sword energy also destroyed the floor beneath him, causing him to fall another floor. Li Ziming feels that Komatsu's ability with Milk's kitchen knife, if played well, is not inferior to Toriko at all. After all, that was a Milk kitchen knife, and it was ground with the fossilized teeth of the Dragon King Dilarius. The capture level of that Dragon King was 6,590. Although the fossil fangs are not that strong, they are also part of the Dragon King's strength. Even if they have 1% of their power, it would still be about 60 or 70% of its power. With this knife, he cut open the wall of the food pyramid and brought groundwater into the food pyramid. Looking at the groundwater flowing towards the coffin, it seems that it won't be long before this Netero is revived. At this time, Komatsu also began to look for an exit or a safe place, and then he found the QR code on the wall. Although he didn't know what it was, he began to walk along the wall based on his feeling. As a result, when he passed a corner, he accidentally tripped over a rock and fell to the ground, and the contents of his backpack fell out. He also immediately noticed Peru and felt that it could scan. Komatsu also took it and started scanning the QR code on the wall. Peru passed by and then revealed a red light. At first Komatsu didn't know what it meant, but when he saw the other tunnel also had it, he went over and scanned it. This time it was blue. Thinking about what happened just now, he understood that red means danger, while blue means safety. Komatsu instantly became happy. Start walking along the blue light, and this direction is where Ziming is, and where the cooking book is. As time passed, Komatsu relied on Peru to avoid danger again and again, and got closer and closer to Ziming. But at this moment, Komatsu saw several familiar footprints that looked like GT robots, but his intuition told him that they were living footprints. Komatsu immediately thought of Netero, whom he met in Vegetable Paradise last time. He was so scared that he immediately turned around and ran away, leaving towards the blue light passage. Then I saw the murals on the wall, which were all about the ancient Netero and his deeds of capturing food. For a moment, Komatsu was stunned. What on earth was this place? After reading the contents on the mural, he couldn't calm down for a long time, but at this time, Ziming also came behind him. Ooh! Komatsu! Ah! Komatsu was shocked when he heard the familiar voice. Seeing that it was Ziming, he said to him angrily, "Mr. Ziming, please don't do this. I almost thought I had a cardiac arrest." "Ha ha ha ha, sorry. As an apology, this book is for you." Afterwards, Ziming handed the cooking book to Komatsu, and the moment he saw the book, he was instantly obsessed with it. Although Komatsu didn't recognize every word in the book, he knew what was recorded in it. It was a recipe for ancient Netero cooking ingredients. As he spoke, he began to flip through the pages. Soon, Komatsu also raised his head, looked at Ziming, and asked about the origin of the book. "Mr. Ziming, where did you get this book? It's incredible. Although it's very old, it's also very novel. It contains cooking methods I've never seen before. It's on the stage over there." Hearing this, Komatsu curiously took the book and checked it out. Although there was nothing special, the content on the surrounding murals seemed more important. Komatsu even saw a huge figure on these murals, shedding tears under the siege of the Neteros. Thinking of some of the contents in the book, he realized that this beast was the target of their trip, and the sweet cola was in his body. Moreover, the tears of that beast are sweet cola. Just as Komatsu was looking at the contents on the mural, Netero, who was sleeping, woke up, smelled the air, and walked towards the two of them. The moment he saw Ziming and Komatsu, his dry body burst into an amazing appetite. Chapter 135. Komatsu cried out when he saw the skinny Netero appear, but Ziming was expecting that, but Komatsu still needed to practice. Not only the swordsmanship, but also the mind and the ability to think in times of crisis all need to be honed so that one can calmly deal with emergencies. "Okay, stop yelling. Mr. Ziming, that's Mummy Netero." "Yes, but it's also an ingredient. E=Omicron asterisk." Seeing this Netero rushing towards him with its mouth wide open, Ziming slapped it directly and embedded it into the ground. Looking at the trembling Netero, Ziming was speechless. Although he wanted to cook him directly, it was obviously meaningless to eat its dry body. It is better to let it replenish itself and revive the gourmet cells in its body. Then it may taste better. As he spoke, Ziming took him to a nearby beast, which was the parasitic snail that Komatsu had scared away. It then threw Netero to the ground, and the next second, it rushed directly towards the parasitic snail, bit its head, and began to feast on it. Let Netero eat like this first. After all, he still needs the sweet cola to fully awaken the gourmet cells in his body. Then let Zebra and Toriko fight with him to renew the gourmet cells in his body. As he spoke, Ziming threw out the delicacies he had captured in the desert, including rice, brown sugar, fried noodles, sweet potatoes, and so on. "Eat, eat more, and eat until you get fat. I look forward to the fruits of your growth, and whether you can transform my Sharingan." Ziming then left and returned to Komatsu. Looking at Komatsu, who was reading carefully, Ziming also asked about its progress. "How is it, Komatsu, do you know how to make glycol cola?" "It's almost done. I guess it will be almost done once Zebra and Mr. Toriko come over. They're up there, coming over soon." At the same time, Zebra and Toriko also ate a lot of the ferocious beasts in the food pyramid, and the energy in their bodies was almost restored. Zebra opened the echo map again and checked Komatsu's location. It turned out that Li Ziming was also there. After feeling the vibrations around him, Li Ziming also began to sense the positions of the two people. They were several floors above them. But Li Ziming also sensed that the beast dozens of meters away was probably salamander. Since it took the initiative to come here, it must be Komatsu's food. Then he said to Zebra, "Come down, it's right in front of us, the glycol cola is inside it." Roar, drool. Toriko, descend quickly, glycol is right below us, Li Ziming and Komatsu are also there. Oh my god, wait till I cover your ears. Hearing Li Ziming's words, Zebra's appetite continued to rise, and he directly fired a sound wave rocket towards the surroundings. Everything around him was blasted to pieces by him, revealing the salamander below, and Li Ziming and Komatsu also came here at this moment. The four of them reunited and looked at the beast in front of them, so the next step was to capture Coke. Salamander Finks, Mammalian Capture Level 92 Komatsu. Teacher Toriko. The excited Komatsu burst into tears instantly, then ran towards Toriko and gave her a big hug. Then he also saw Zebra, and he was very happy to see the two of them. At this moment, Zebra looked at Komatsu and said, "Boy, your thumping heartbeat proves that you are still alive." "Yes, I'm still alive." "Okay, let's talk about the past later. Let's deal with this salamander Finks first." After hearing what Li Ziming said, the three of them also looked at the salamander Finks in front of them. It had a huge green body, covered with scales, and had curly brown hair, which was very intimidating. It also had a pair of wings, so it was obvious that it could fly. Based on the nearby scene, the main task is now released, capturing glycol coke. Task reward, 10,000 points. Salamander immediately roared at the four people, his voice was particularly loud, as if he was provoking them. When Zebra saw this scene, he immediately fired a sound speed rocket. What kind of person is this? How dare he challenge him? But the next second, Zebra was dumbfounded, because the salamander Finks, which was hit by the sonic rocket, was fine. Zebra instantly perked up. Obviously, this beast is not just a showpiece, but a real strong one. Li Ziming, the sweet cola is inside it, so it looks like we're going to kill it. Toriko, get ready, the opponent is very strong. Oh. No need to kill it. Sweet cola is its tears, and it needs a special cooking method. Ha! After hearing what Li Ziming said, both of them were stunned. They really didn't expect it to be like this, but it made sense. After all, it was the best tasting cola in the world, and the cooking method was special and reasonable. But his next words made Zebra and Toriko even more confused. Komatsu has already learned how to cook it. Just follow his instructions and cook the salad mandafinks in front of you. Really, Komatsu? Toriko looked at Komatsu at this moment, and couldn't believe that he could actually cook salamander. At this moment, Komatsu was holding the book and looking at the two confidently. "Yes, Mr. Toriko, this book that Mr. Li Ziming gave me records the cooking methods. Although I can't understand the words, I almost understand its steps." After hearing this, Toriko immediately looked at Li Ziming, and after seeing him nod, he said to Zebra, "In that case, let's trust Komatsu. With his cooking skills and luck with food, it should be almost okay." "Humph, you are really getting carried away, kid, you need to command us properly." "Okay. In that case, let's go ahead." Toriko and Zebra roared and rushed towards Salamander, while Li Ziming pulled Komatsu to the back. "With a sharp blade in hand, you can go anywhere. Now that Komatsu has two kitchen knives, a Zebra and a Toriko, now is the perfect time to cook the salad mandafinks." Zebra and Toriko immediately rushed forward and began to attack Salamander Finks, but the opponent was too strong, and the two were knocked away by just the attack of his hair. With one claw, several scars were added to the bodies of the two men. Both of them were injured in just one encounter. At this time, Komatsu also got into the state. Although he was very worried about the two, he understood that as long as he dealt with Salamander Finks and captured Glycol Cola, Li Ziming would take action and they would be safe. Then he began to read the ancient book, and told Toriko and Zebra the first steps of cooking. First, hit the entire body evenly to make Salamander Finks' body soft. Chapter 136. Zebra and Toriko were both stunned when they heard this request. Under the attack of this salamander, their flesh was constantly slapped, and they couldn't use too much force, which was really difficult for them. However, when they thought of the sweet cola in Salamander Fink's body, they had no choice but to go ahead. At this time, Zebra also asked Komatsu to cover his ears, preparing to give Salamander a full body massage, using the power of sound to repeatedly slap it. Sonic rocket launcher. The next second, a huge roar spread throughout the entire food pyramid, and the magic of sound was so magical that under Zebra's control, it perfectly slapped the skin of the Salamander Finks appropriately. Komatsu then felt that it was about time, so he gave the next order, which was to pat the center of Salamander's chest with a little more force. After hearing this, it was time for Toriko to take action, and he asked Zebra to cover him, and then rushed over quickly. But how could Salamander let her get her way? Countless soft hairs attacked Toriko, but were blocked by Zebra's sound wall. 10 consecutive nail punches. Toriko seized the opportunity and, with the help of Zebra, quickly rushed to the Salamander Finks and swung out 10 consecutive nail punches, hitting it in the heart. Salamander's body only shook slightly 10 times, but its eyes showed some changes, as if some switch was about to be turned on. Upon seeing this, Komatsu immediately ordered the two to pursue the victory, but who would have thought that Salamander's counterattack almost made Zebra and Toriko fall down. When the two claws were swung out, bloodstains were everywhere around the two men, and claw marks also appeared on the ground, which looked very scary. Komatsu was also stunned when he saw this scene. This Shaolin Manda was so powerful. When Ziming saw him like this, he also gave Komatsu a slap on the head. Now is not the time to be stunned. Hurry up and arrange the next step for them. After all, they are your knives now. When Komatsu heard this, he immediately sobered up, his tension eased, and then he gradually calmed down. Since Toriko, Ziming and Mr. Zebra believe in me so much, I can also make a difference. Next, shave off some of the scales on your back. When Toriko heard this, he knew clearly that it was time for him to take action, but ordinary throwing knives could not harm the salamander scales. Letting Zebra draw its attention, Toriko immediately jumped into the air and delivered a powerful foot blade towards Salamander's back. Although he successfully shaved off some scales, Toriko found that his right leg had reached its limit. The foot blade move consumes a lot of energy and is very demanding on the legs. He won't be able to use it again in a short period of time. But for the sake of Coca-Cola, it's time to push yourself. Then, Komatsu also went on to explain the steps of cooking sharamanda, which is to stimulate the soles of its feet, and all 4 feet need to be stimulated, starting from the right front foot in a clockwise direction. This time it was Zebra's turn to take action. After all, he had strong control over his voice. The next second, all 4 jade feet were attacked by him. The next step requires 2 people to work together, which is to pluck the feathers of Sharanmanda Finks at the same time. Zebra and Toriko could only dodge the attacks, looking for opportunities to jump onto its body and quickly reach the wings. We have to unplug them at the same time, Zebra, just cooperate with me. You've been nagging me. It's time for you to cooperate with me. Ready, hey! With the tacit cooperation of the two feathers were successfully plucked out. At the same time, the salamander Finks also changed. The tear glands in his eyes began to enlarge, and his expression changed as well. He felt like crying, but also a little happy, as if an inexplicable emotion was about to burst out. It makes sense. After the salamander eats its prey, it converts most of the nutrients into glucose and stores it in its tear glands. This is the raw material of Coca-Cola. Only by following the steps in the book and constantly stimulating its body can the carbon dioxide in the salamander's body dissolve into the tear glands, thus forming carbonic acid. When the cooking is finished and salamander sheds tears, that is the moment when sweet cola is formed. Ziming looked at the salamander Finks and couldn't help but sigh at the rules of this world. Sweet cola had to appear in this way. And you have to constantly stimulate the body, which is simply perverted. Of course, there is also the food fairy Gigi who discovered and recorded it. Ziming was very curious about how he discovered this cooking method. It was really amazing. Coming back to his senses, Komatsu was also bringing Zebra and Toriko to continue stimulating Salamander Fink's body. After a long period of cooking, Salamander Finks collapsed to the ground, his body shaking continuously. Now we are about to begin the final step of cooking. That is to hit the Salamander Finks's tail hard, the end with the snake head. At this moment, the two people who were very tired were looking at the salamander in front of them with their eyes constantly spinning, and they were also very excited. Sweet cola is just around the corner. Zebra, you have to use all the remaining strength you have. Okay, got it. 15th Company, Sonic. Nail Fist, Rocket. The two people's attacks successfully hit the tail snakehead, and Salamander, who was hit, suddenly howled. His body kept shaking, his eyes kept rolling, and then something shiny appeared in the corner of his eyes. It was the sweet cola. The next moment, countless sweet cola gushed out instantly, and the unique fragrance of cola filled the entire passage. The four of them were very excited when they saw this scene. Their hard work paid off and they could finally drink sweet cola. But just then, Netero came here, and after eating, his body recovered a little and he was no longer that skinny. It originally wanted to attack Komatsu directly, but when it saw Ziming was there, it did not take action. Then when it saw the appearance of Coke, it could no longer control its appetite. Netero came to Zebra at lightning speed and knocked him away with an elbow. Then he followed it up with a punch, knocking Toriko out as well. However, the two men had very little energy left in their bodies, and coupled with their physical injuries, they were unable to fight back at all. Netero then looked at the gushing sweet cola, jumped directly into the air, opened his mouth wide and sucked it into his mouth. The next second, its body changed instantly. If it looked slim just now, it has now become a muscular beast. His body had expanded several times, his muscle lines were very obvious, and the muscles in his limbs were also very large. It felt like he could easily crush a raw egg. This action of its also angered the two demons. Chapter 137. At this moment, Zebra and Toriko were filled with anger. This was the sweet cola that they had worked so hard to prepare, but it was ruined like this. For a moment, they could only watch Netero drink the sweet cola, but the previous battle consumed all their energy. Seeing Netero appear in a new form, Zebra's anger surged in his heart, and then he slowly stood up. At this moment, not only his physical injuries had healed, but his physical strength had also recovered to 100%. Apparently, he had switched to cannibalism mode, and the gourmet demon in his body began to eat himself. The same thing happened to Toriko on the other side. The self-eating effect was fully activated. She rolled over and stood up, staring at Netero. Zebra, stand back and I'll kill it. You wish, this prey is mine. As soon as he finished speaking, Zebra used his ultimate move, and a meteor noise was immediately launched and flew into the air. Toriko was not willing to be outdone and charged 20 consecutive nail punches. Seeing this, Netero also realized their threat. He immediately rushed towards Toriko and punched him. 20 consecutive nail punches. Their fists collided instantly, and the next second, both sides were knocked away by the impact of the other. But the power of 20 consecutive nail punches still forced Netero to retreat continuously. When the nail punches ended, his arms were all injured. Although Toriko's arms were fine, he obviously could not use his right hand in a short period of time. Netero instantly became furious, and just as he shouted, he was blown away by Zebra's sonic rocket. Zebra immediately grabbed Netero and started firing sonic rockets at close range, cursing as he fired. Stinky lizard, rocket, give me back my sweet cola, rocket, give me back my sweet cola flowing out of the salamander finks. Rocket. After being hit by the sonic rocket, Netero had turned completely black, just as Zebra was hanging him up. Netero punched Zebra directly, then quickly stepped back and shouted at the three people. His voice was so sharp that it seemed to be comparable to Zebra's. At this moment, Zebra's body began to tremble, because Netero actually learned Toriko's spike fist. The two people who saw this scene became serious. They also knew that Netero in front of them had a very fast learning ability and they had to deal with him as soon as possible. After all, his self-feeding ability could only last for a few minutes. Seeing their expressions, Ziming also said to them, "You guys need to hurry up, Zebra, Toriko. This is the trial ingredient I specially left for you. I don't know if you can eat it, but it's said to be delicious." Hearing that the lizardman in front of them could actually be eaten, Zebra and Toriko's appetite instantly arose, and at the same time, the anger in their hearts gradually increased. "Since you have drunk our sweet cola, let us eat you. With the nourishment of sweet cola, it should taste good." Seeing the two more motivated, Ziming also realized that Netero's death was approaching, so he simply brought Komatsu to the salamander finks. He pulled out a natural rubber backpack and a gourmet suitcase for liquids from his backpack, took one for himself and gave the other to Komatsu, ready to capture the sweet cola that would flow out in a while. At the same time, Toriko and Zebra, who were keeping a close eye on Netero, also began to take action. In order to defeat Netero as quickly as possible, they chose to use a fusion technique. At this time, Netero rushed towards them, and Toriko also parried countless flying knives, looking for the best opportunity to defeat the enemy with one blow. But Netero reacted quickly, dodged countless flying knives easily, came in front of Toriko, kicked her in the air, and activated the night kick. Zebra also seized this opportunity and immediately activated the sonic machine gun, firing crazily at Netero. Netero instantly changed from white to black again, and heat could be seen coming from his body. Toriko followed immediately. The leg fork hit Netero directly, leaving 4 scars instantly. Seeing that it failed to penetrate him, Toriko used another foot blade. Although this move successfully hit the target, Netero's body was too hard and Toriko almost cut off his arm. Helplessly, he could only use his left hand to punch, trying to create distance. Just after the hammer hit Netero, the subsequent spike fist has not yet been activated, and Zebra's meteor noise is also ready to go. The next moment, as expected, the meteor noise that had been accumulated for a long time suddenly struck the air. Apparently at the last moment, Netero dodged the move by a hair's breadth. Although he dodged it, Toriko's snail punch was still quite powerful. Seeing this scene, the two of them made eye contact instantly. Toriko, it's still my spike fist, Zebra. Zebra, tisk, got it. Don't hit me off target. Toriko immediately began to gather his strength. If he could give it his all this time and surpass himself, he would be able to reach a better future. Zebra had learned from the previous experience and could only choose Toriko's spike fist, and then launched a sound wave rocket. Netero thought it was coming towards him, but the sound wave rocket turned and flew towards Toriko. The sonic rocket flew out with Toriko at its head, rushing towards Netero. 20, 21, 22 consecutive nail punches. Wall of sound. Netero, who was about to escape, suddenly found himself surrounded by Zebra's sound wall. He couldn't escape even if he wanted to, and he had to take the punch whether he wanted to or not. The two's combined skill, Sonic Nail Fist, successfully hit Netero. With 20 years of experience, can Netero withstand this punch? I really held on. Netero was knocked away by the spike fist, and the sound of bang 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 continued to be heard. A lot of red blood flowed from the corners of his mouth, but he finally held on. For a moment, Zebra and Toriko were speechless. This Netero was too tough and his survivability was too strong. But just as Toriko was about to rush forward, Zebra stopped him because he heard the footsteps of the god of death. This is Zebra's unique ability, similar to Coco's ability to see death, except that he learned it from fighting. The next step is to transform the footsteps of the god of death into sound, thereby reaping Netero's life. After all, after being hit by the sonic fist, although Netero did not die immediately, he would suffer for several days before dying. You will feel relieved immediately. No living creature can survive after hearing such a sound. Death sound. When Netero heard the death sound from Zebra, he was instantly killed by the god of death and could not move. Ziming smiled slightly when he saw this scene. This not only trained Zebra and Toriko, but also renewed the gourmet cells in Netero's body, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. But looking at the 2 disappointed people, I guess they thought the cola was gone, and they sat on the ground with tired faces. Hey, what are you still standing there for? Come over here and get us some Coke. Ah! Chapter 138. Zebra and Toriko were stunned after hearing what Ziming said. All the Coke had been drunk by Netero, so why were they asked to go over? Just as the 2 of them walked over in confusion, Komatsu explained to them that the Coca-Cola just now, although it was Coca-Cola, was not the real Coca-Cola. What flowed out of Salamander Finks afterwards was the truly mature sweet cola, and what Netero drank was just the foam that gushed out in advance. Moreover, the amount of sweet cola is dozens or hundreds of times more than what was seen just now. After it flows out, it can even turn this place into a swimming pool. Hearing this, Zebra and Toriko also became excited, and then looked at Salamander Finks. Woohoo! As the Salamander Finks made a refreshing sound, traces of sweet cola began to appear in its eyes. The next second, countless sweet cola gushed out instantly. Everyone was instantly drenched in this sweet rain of cola. Countless carbonated sounds were heard, and the rustling sound was like firecrackers. The stimulation of the sound and the skin was like a spa, which relieved everyone's fatigue. Now that the sweet cola has come out, the 4 of them won't be polite. Thanks for all the food in the world, let's drink some sweet cola. The four of them looked at the sweet cola that kept gushing out, opened their mouths wide and took a big sip. The moment it entered their mouths, countless bubbles crackled in their mouths. It stimulates everyone's taste buds and mouth, and what follows is a sweet and delicious taste. The glucose stored in the salamander finks has a truly dreamy sweetness, even sweeter than the sweetness of sweet fruits. It feels like rainbow fruit wine that has been stored for a long time. After adding carbonation, the taste is even better. Moreover, this carbonation has more bubbles than champagne and soda water. After swallowing it in one gulp, the whole body seemed to be electrified, and countless bubbles rushed into the body, bringing a lot of energy while eliminating fatigue. If the sweet cola spa just now was a skin massage, then after drinking it this time, it would be a stretch from the inside out. Not only were Zebra and Toriko's injuries healed, but their empty bodies were also filled with strength in one breath, and the gourmet cells in their bodies also changed and evolved. After this incident, the two felt that one person could deal with Netero alone. It is worthy of being the best sweet cola in the world, it is very good. The main mission, capturing glycol coke, has been completed. Task reward, 10,000 points. Looking at the gushing sweet cola, Zebra made up his mind at this moment, and then said to the three people, I have decided that I will add this sweet cola to my life menu. This way, Komatsu, you can be my partner. When Zebra said this, Toriko was stunned. Ha, what are you talking about? Komatsu is my partner. How about you, kid? You want to be my partner? After hearing what Zebra said, Komatsu touched his head guiltily, which made Toriko confused as to what was going on. Then, Komatsu began to explain to the two of them. It turns out that Zebra agreed to go with Toriko and the others because he wanted Komatsu to be his partner. After all, after tasting Komatsu's cooking, Zebra discovered his talent. It just so happened that he hadn't asked Toriko for the payment for this commission yet, so he put forward a condition to Komatsu, that is, as long as he agreed to Zebra's life menu, he would become his partner. Now that there are drinks on the menu of life, it is time for Komatsu to make the judgment, but his next words make Zebra furious. With just the drink, I may not be able to make a judgment. What did you say? Seeing the furious Zebra, Komatsu hurriedly explained that he wanted to judge his life menu, but now there were only drinks, so he naturally could not make a judgment. Therefore, he cannot become Zebra's partner now. Only at the end, when he has set his life menu wholeheartedly, can he make up his mind. At this moment, Toriko was looking at Komatsu with resentment. He actually made the decision secretly behind her back and didn't even treat him as a partner. Sorry, Mr. Toriko. But I can offer this condition only because I believe that Mr. Toriko's life package is not inferior to anyone else's. Komatsu, it turns out you believe in yourself so much. Toriko looked at Komatsu in disbelief, and her heart was very excited. Zebra on the side was also speechless when he saw how much Komatsu trusted Toriko. It seemed that in order to get Komatsu to make him a partner, he would have to compete with Toriko in the life menu. There is still a long way to go. He looked at Komatsu with resentment and said to him, I will quickly put together the world's #1 life menu. In return, you have to let me eat as much as I can at the banquet when I return. Seeing that he had convinced Zebra, Komatsu was very excited. Of course, I will make sure you guys have enough to eat. Ziming couldn't help but sigh when he saw this Shura field. Although Komatsu could be stupid sometimes, he seemed unusually smart at this time. Not only did it check Zebra and give him a goal, but it also deepened the friendship between Komatsu and Toriko. I'd better not get involved. Isn't it better to just wait and eat? Really? After watching the three finish their conversation, Ziming handed a natural rubber backpack to Zebra and Toriko respectively and started packing the sweet cola. Soon, 4 big round balls appeared in front of everyone. Ziming looked at the cola in the natural rubber backpack. Although it tasted good, he didn't know how long it would last. He probably won't be able to drink it for long. He will finish it in a few days. If he saves a little, he can last for half a month or a month. While the other 3 were still tasting, Ziming also came to Netero, who was already dead. Although the body is dried up, it is better than the previous dormant state. I think it can be cooked, or it can be eaten directly. However, for the details, I need to go back and ask Master Jiro. After all, he is an expert in this field. After eating him, I will become stronger. Then I will really stop eating beef. But this is only limited to this world. In the Dragon Ball world, I am still little Karami. Afterwards, Ziming put Netero into his backpack, as it was the main ingredient for the banquet. Now that Coca-Cola and Netero have been captured, it is time to leave. After returning to the three of them also drank Coca-Cola to their heart's content. Thank you, Salamander Finks. See you next year. Remember to eat well and drink well and don't die. Roar. It's angry, go away. Chapter 139. After playing with Salamander Finks, Ziming teleported back to the gourmet hotel with Toriko, Zebra and Komatsu. When they saw the four people appear, everyone present was stunned. The next second, everyone was so scared that they fled in panic. After all, among the four of them, there is Zebra. Oh no, Zebra is coming. Take the guests to a safe place. The appearance of Zebra caught the people at the gourmet hotel off guard. Not only the guests were panicked, but the service staff were also panicked. It's so lively. It's because you're too conspicuous. Seeing his colleagues like this, Komatsu panicked and forgot to inform them. Now he probably will have his salary deducted. Boy, I'm hungry. You said you'd treat me. Hurry up and serve the food. Okay, I'll go talk to the manager first, and then I'll start making the food. Yeah. Hurry up. After watching Komatsu leave, Ziming asked Zebra and Toriko to go to the hotel room to wash up and change into clean clothes. After all, after the battle with Shaolin Manda, their clothes are now all in tatters. Fortunately, this is a gourmet hotel, and as the two princes, they can naturally ask the waiter to buy clothes for them. While they were taking a bath and changing clothes, Ziming came to Komatsu's kitchen and prepared to borrow a stove to make some fried food. Mr. Ziming, why are you here? Fry something and eat it with Coke later. Good idea. Coke should be paired with some fried food or something. I have to prepare some too. After saying that, Komatsu turned around and started to prepare the dishes, while Ziming also started to make fried toads and fried vegetables. The last time I ate fried toad, I felt like something was missing. This time, since I have Coke, I think I should eat it. Ziming took out the pot and the oil and started to make it. Soon, a lot of fried toad dumplings came out of the oven. Looking at the clear oil pan, Ziming was very satisfied. It was worthy of being called Morse oil. At this time, Komatsu also saw the oil pan here. Seeing such clean oil, he was very curious and asked Ziming where he bought it. You can't buy this oil. I found it when I was looking for ingredients. Maybe you and Toriko will find it soon. Hearing this, Komatsu felt puzzled. How could he and Toriko be able to find it? Could it be that it was also a training ingredient? Ziming saw this, chuckled, then took out a box of Morse oil and handed it to Komatsu. I'll give you 1 box. Next time you find one, remember to give me 2 boxes. Okay, thank you Mr. Ziming. Leaving Komatsu to continue cooking in the room, Ziming walked out of the kitchen with a mountain of fried toad. Soon, he came to the big dining table. Maybe because he came here so often, this place has become Toriko's exclusive dining table. At this moment, Toriko and Zebra had already started eating, and their plates were piled up several layers high. It was obvious that they were really hungry. Seeing Ziming coming, the two rushed over immediately and started to taste the fried toad. Toriko was okay because she had eaten it before. But after Zebra tasted it, he fell in love with it instantly. This crispy and delicious fried toad is so fragrant. Eat fried toad marrow and drink a cup of sweet cola, it's a perfect combination. In just a few seconds, half of the mountain-like toad disappeared in an instant. Seeing this, Ziming gave each of them a big blow and hit them. I haven't even eaten my shit yet, and you guys are already eating it first. How can this be okay? It was just served not long ago, and it's almost gone. After putting the fried toad on the table, Ziming began to taste the food. Although the levels of these catches were not high, they became exceptionally delicious after being cooked by Komatsu. With a sweet cola in one hand and fried toad mian in the other, Ziming officially started tasting the food. The fried toad is still the same, crispy when eaten, and the meat is chewy and refreshing. Paired with sweet cola, countless carbonic acid fills the mouth, it is so satisfying. This was exactly the effect he wanted, a bite of fried food and a sip of Coke, so satisfying. In an instant, Ziming felt that his previous life was complete and his soul was sublimated. The final cause of the previous life produced the fruit of a new life. Although this fruit is a little green, it will surely become very popular in the future. By then, he will ascend the throne and become the master of the dimension, controlling everything. When I came to my senses, there was very little food left on the table, most of it had been eaten by Toriko and Zebra. Fortunately, Komatsu also asked the waiters to keep bringing out new dishes, so Li Ziming could eat more food. I have to say that a good chef can really control people's stomachs. Komatsu is worthy of being Komatsu. It is estimated that it will be difficult for chefs in this world to surpass him in the future. But this is only limited to this world. After all, there are more protagonist chefs in other worlds, and they are the real sons of the world. For example, the youngest top chef in history, the poorly entertained king of medicine, and so on. The chefs in this world only benefit from the ingredients, otherwise more than half of the people on the current ranking of chefs would probably be removed. After thinking about it, Li Ziming felt that when he went to capture the ingredients later, he could bring those chefs with him, which might save some time, but the prerequisite was that they needed to be trained in advance. Soon, the entire table was filled with empty plates. With the efforts of the three of them, they managed to eat up all the food prepared by the gourmet hotel for a week. Komatsu was treating, so of course it was Komatsu who paid. In the past, Komatsu would have felt that his life was over and that he would never be able to pay back such a large sum of money. But now, with Century Soup, he has a lot of assets, not to mention that all the appointments for the next 10 years or so have been booked. So, this meal was just a drop in the bucket for him. After eating and drinking, Komatsu also walked out of the kitchen and asked for praise. "How is it, family, are you satisfied with the food?" Li Ziming, not bad, it tastes great." Toriko, "It's delicious." Komatsu, "Your cooking skills have improved." Zebra, "Not bad, kid." Hearing the praise from the three people, Komatsu also became happy. The greatest compliment to a chef is that the diners enjoy their food. But Zebra, drinking Coke, started to ask Li Ziming, "That creature hasn't had any food yet. How long are you going to wait?" Li Ziming also drank some sweet cola to moisten his throat, and then began to reply to Zebra, "Of course we need to eat, but not here, as it may cause panic. Besides, not everyone can eat Netero. As far as I know, only the acupuncture master Jiro has eaten Netero. Come to my house, no one will bother you there." Chapter 140. After the cola feast, Li Ziming took Toriko and the other two and teleported back to the castle in the sky, preparing to deal with Netero here. Unexpectedly, just as I teleported over, Typing, who was busy over there, came over. I wanted to come over and say hello, but unexpectedly I saw Zebra. At the same time, Zebra also noticed the accomplice who arrested him. "Regeneration Master Typing, I didn't expect to see you here." As he said that, Zebra snapped his fingers, ready to go over and have a fight with him. Typing was also very panicked when he saw him. Although he was not the one who arrested him, that person was his master Yusaku, and he was just helping. In terms of strength, Typing is definitely no match for Zebra, so he chose to stand directly behind Li Ziming. "Ziming, help me, I don't want to be killed by him." Seeing this, Li Ziming forgot about it and quickly asked Zebra to stop. After all, they arrested him just to follow orders. "I still have to take nitro soon, so let Zebra calm down first. After all, he is the grandson of the A-Cup Ointment Master Jiro." With the temptation of Netero, Zebra naturally wanted to taste it, but he still said 5 words to Tepi. "Don't be left alone." Typing was naturally not afraid when he saw Zebra like this. He thought he would never be alone in his life, so he would just live in seclusion here and not go out. After temporarily alleviating the problem between the two, Li Ziming was about to call Jiro when he suddenly thought of Typing. Maybe he knew how to eat and cook Netero, so Li Ziming simply asked him. "Tepi, do you know how to eat Netero?" "Netero? You have Netero?" Seeing Typing's frightened look, Li Ziming also took out the dead Netero. The moment he took it out, Typing rushed up with his eyes shining. After all, this was Netero, the Netero whose body was full of gourmet cells. "Can you let me study it? I'm particularly curious about the Netero species." "Study it? And then revive it?" Hearing Li Ziming's ridicule, Typing was dumbfounded. Although he really had that idea at that moment, he really wanted to study it. Apparently the incident with the stink bomb was still lingering in Li Ziming's mind. Now that he wanted to study it, it seemed impossible. "Do you know how to eat it? If you don't know, I'll ask your grandfather." "Ah ha ha ha, how could I not know that?" "Well, I really don't know." Li Ziming was speechless for a while, Then he called Master Jiro. Ding dong chicken, ding dong chicken. Hey! Ziming, what do you want from me? Master Jiro, this is it. Li Ziming then told Master Jiro that they had captured Neteru in the food pyramid. Unexpectedly, he was really surprised when he heard that there was a sleeping Netero in it. However, when Jiro heard Li Ziming calling to ask how to eat Netero, he gave a cooking method. Just eat it raw. If you can't accept it, you can roast it, fry it, squeeze it into juice, or eat it any way you want, but there is a prerequisite. That is to be able to withstand the impact of the gourmet cells. After all, Netero is the embodiment of the appetite of the gourmet cells, and is also the carrier of the gourmet cells. The eater must have an overwhelming appetite to overcome it, digest it, and activate the gourmet cells in his body. After hearing what Master Jiro said, Li Ziming was also thoughtful. No wonder, looking at the entire food world, there are very few people who eat Netero. Only Master Jiro has eaten it, and there is also a certain food god. But Li Ziming was also very curious. What would happen if he didn't have enough appetite? Master Jiro also gave an answer to this question. If the appetite cannot overcome the other party, then it will be eaten by the gourmet cells and become a new carrier of gourmet cells, or it will simply dissipate. Now the question has been answered. Li Ziming originally thought that eating Komatsu would awaken his gourmet cells, but now it seems that he can't eat it anymore. After all, Komatsu's appetite is far less than theirs, so let's take it slow. But at this time, Li Ziming suddenly thought of the method of injecting gourmet cells, which Igo already had, but it required continuously extracting gourmet cells from the food. The chance of successful injection is very small. Most gourmet hunters fail, and only a few can succeed. Most people will become a state of neither ghost nor human, and most of them live in the world of monster food in the gourmet world. From this point of view, we can keep a little bit of Netero's body and give it to Igo to extract the gourmet cells, and then inject awakening into other people. After saying goodbye to Master Jiro with gratitude, Li Ziming hung up the phone. Everyone had heard everything about their previous conversation. Li Ziming had to eat it for sure. After all, his appetite was very high and he had to take some nitro to calm his nerves. The same goes for Zebra. How could it throw away the food it had caught with great difficulty? It had to eat as much as it could. Toriko's life motto is that once you kill something, you have to eat it. Respect the ingredients. Whether it tastes good or not is another matter. As for Komatsu. Teppei, what about me? The three of them also looked at Komatsu, and seeing his look, they all said something at the same time. Komatsu, just stop eating. I thought so too. I don't want to be eaten by the gourmet cells. After saying this, Komatsu breathed a sigh of relief. Although he also liked to eat delicious food, he was a chef. Compared to appetite, he wanted more to see the smile on the face of the person who ate his food. Next is the cooking time. Since Master Jiro said any cooking method is fine, let's grill it, which is the simplest cooking method. As they spoke, several people walked into the Kongshao Pavilion, came to the courtyard, and picked up the barbecue grill. After briefly cleaning the Netero, Li Ziming put it on the grill and started grilling. Drinking sweet cola, several people sat on chairs, chewing vegetables and watching Netero spinning on the fire. Soon, a peculiar fragrance began to spread. After Li Ziming and the others smelled it, they all drooled. In just a few minutes, a golden yellow grilled nitro came out of the oven. It smelled delicious and was obviously grilled to perfection, with a very appetizing brown color. Now that the food is ready, let's eat. To express gratitude to all the food in the world, I have to eat nitro. Chapter 141. After Netero was roasted, everyone came over and prepared to taste this legendary delicacy that had existed for thousands of years. Li Ziming took the lead in tearing apart the grilled nitro, and with his start, Zebra and Toriko followed closely. Soon, the whole roasted nitro was divided into 3 large pieces. When Li Ziming saw the fragrant Netero, he immediately started eating. The moment you put it in your mouth, you can feel its chewy texture, a bit like snake meat and a bit like chicken. It is very chewy and has a rich taste. No wonder Master Jiro always says Netero is a lizard. It turns out they taste a bit like it. Li Ziming finished the grilled nitro meat in no time. The quantity was too small and he was still not satisfied. You know what, after eating this Netero meat, I felt my body warm, my eyes a little itchy, and my scalp felt like ants crawling. The next second, Li Ziming felt a change in his body. Netaro's flesh instantly turned into a large amount of high-concentration gourmet cells, and the S cells in his body also began to hunt. Obviously, this is what Master Jiro said. If the S cells in your body cannot absorb all the gourmet cells, then you may be at risk of being eaten by them instead. But Li Ziming is a Saiyan. When the S cells saw the influx of these gourmet cells, they were instantly ecstatic and began to follow their instincts to prey on these high-concentration gourmet cells. Fighting is fun. Before long, these gourmet cells were almost completely eaten up by the S cells, and the nutrients began to feed back to Li Ziming, and soon his Sharingan evolved. After consuming Li Ziming's appetite for a long time, he tasted the embodiment of gourmet cell appetite, Nitro. At this moment, it is officially complete. The three Megatama merged together in an instant, and when Li Ziming blinked, the Sharingan turned into the eternal Mangeki Sharingan. The shape is not the common windmill shapes in Naruto, and it is definitely not the shape of the Rinnegan. It's a whole new look. A small cross appeared in the middle of the pupil, and 8 leaves extended from it, opening like flowers and pointing to the small cross in the middle. It looks weird and cool. At the same time, the evolved Eternal Mangeki Sharingan actually possesses multiple abilities, one is Amaterasu, one is Susanoo, one is Tsukuyomi, and one is Kamui. In addition to these common skills, new skills that emerge after absorbing appetite have also appeared. Its name means turning the virtual into the real, the appearance is different but the spirit is the same. By consuming the energy in your body, you can materialize all the ingredients you have seen and eaten in the past, and they will have the taste at that time. After eating, they will also give the eater different enhancements. But unfortunately, this enhancement only lasts for a while. Li Ziming feels that if his Sharingan evolves once more, it may become a permanent enhancement. After all, it is the result of his own energy. Li Ziming is very satisfied with this ability. After all, he wants to travel to different worlds in the future. With this ability, he could materialize those particularly rare delicacies one by one and share them with new friends. Of course, if there were any in his backpack, it would be better to just eat the real thing. After all, sharing is the highest level of romance. I really want to let my familiar friends taste the delicacies of this world. Listening to the sounds of the 5 ants, Li Ziming instantly became happy. After feeling the evolution of his eyes, now it is his body's turn. The feedback from the S cells not only makes his body stronger, but also increases his combat effectiveness. At this moment, after eating the grilled Netero, Li Ziming's combat power has reached 300W, which is really something he did not expect. I thought it was just the Sharingan that evolved, but who would have thought that my body would also become stronger? Maybe this is the effect of Netero. But what made Li Ziming happiest was the Saiyan giant ape. When he was eating the grilled Netero, a Netero also appeared in front of the Saiyan giant ape. It looked like the white Netero they captured. Obviously, before it was Li Ziming who ate grilled nitro, and the S cells preyed on the gourmet cells. Now the Saiyan giant ape, the incarnation of appetite, also has to deal with the incarnation of gourmet cells. As a result, it is predictable that although Netero's soul eater state is very powerful, the strength of the Saiyan giant ape is 10 times stronger than Li Ziming. Not long after, Netero's food spirit was devoured by the Saiyan giant ape, and then he also underwent a transformation. Gourmet Devil, Saiyan giant ape, 100%, the golden light of transformation. Gourmet Devil, golden giant ape, 1%, looking at this golden giant ape shining with golden light, Li Ziming was also very excited. The appearance of the golden giant ape means that he can transform into a Super Saiyan. Moreover, the golden giant ape is one of the requirements for bloodline evolution and is also the key to Super Saiyan 4. I have to say, Super Saiyan 4 is really cool. If I can also transform, I would just keep it normal. Unfortunately, my strength is not enough yet, and my mental power is also insufficient. It seems that I have to resurrect the Saiyan giant ape. Then I can eat it myself, and it should be enough. If that doesn't work, I'll have to wait for Whis to come, turn into Super Saiyan Blue first, and comprehend Ultra Instinct before trying again. After all, the coolness of Super Saiyan 4 and the calmness of Ultra Instinct are a special combination, which is both cool and handsome. Coming back to his senses, Li Ziming looked at Zebra and Toriko. The two of them also relied on their huge appetites, the gourmet cells and gourmet demons in their bodies to successfully eat the invaders. Not only have the gourmet cells evolved, their strength has also increased, and it is estimated that the current capture level is around 1 or 200. Soon the two of them woke up. They didn't expect that Netaro's effect was so good. No wonder Master Jiro was so powerful. Although Master Jiro does not have a food demon, most of his physical strength comes from eating Netaro. Maybe, with his appetite, the food spirit that was parasitic in Master Jiro's body was eaten by him. The three of them also saw the joy in each other's eyes, but at the same time, Zebra and Toriko were also very curious about how strong Li Ziming was now. At this moment, Li Ziming also saw the curiosity in the eyes of the two men, as well as the burning desire to fight. Although both of them were strong, they were still far from being his opponents. Who made his Saiyan blood so strong? Since they want to see it, let them, let the world see my strength as a Super Saiyan 1. After saying that, Li Ziming slowly rose into the air and arrived above the vegetable sky. AA. Chapter 142. Li Ziming flew into the air and began to try to transform into Super Saiyan 1 for the first time. As we all know, every Saiyan has a different way of transforming into a Super Saiyan, but the most important point is anger. While possessing 300W combat power, one also needs to maintain a calm mind and produce violent emotional fluctuations to stimulate the S cells, causing them to grow explosively and transform. Goku transformed in anger because he saw Krillin being killed by Frieza, who was his most important brother. Vegeta was the same. Seeing that Goku, a low-level warrior, could transform, the pride of the Saiyan Prince made him unwilling to fall behind. After training, he also transformed under this angry emotion. He is also the only one who became a Super Saiyan because he was angry with himself. But Li Ziming is different. He never gets angry and maintains a daily ethical routine. He is grateful for everything and everything. If his emotions were to fluctuate in this state, it would only be when he saw others wasting food. AA. It's shameful to waste food. As Li Ziming roared, his heart was filled with violent fluctuations, stimulating the S cells in his spine. At the same time, the sky gradually darkened and lightning began to appear. Li Ziming's body was also burning with golden flames, and the pressure was spreading around. His long hair gradually turned golden and stood up, making him look like Super Saiyan 3. His eyes also turned green, but they were the appearance of eternal Mangeki. Obviously, the Sharingan was also completely integrated into the Saiyan bloodline. Get the Platinum Achievement, Super Saiyan 1 Achievement Reward, 10,000 points soon. Li Ziming maintained the state of Super Saiyan 1. After feeling this state, he felt invincible. His strength increased 50 times and his combat power reached 150 million. Li Ziming feels that he only needs one punch to destroy the earth of the gourmet world. Although he really wants to give it a try, he cannot waste food. He needs to keep his development steady and not waste it. Since the earth cannot be destroyed, it does not mean that things outside the earth cannot be destroyed. The earth is so huge that it is constantly being bombarded by meteorites. Just after Li Ziming transformed, he observed countless meteorites heading towards the earth. Judging from their shapes, they looked like apple pies. Meteorite apple pie? Countless apple pies also broke through the atmosphere and gradually burned in the air. Seeing this, Li Ziming immediately began to collect these extraterrestrial delicacies. With the power of Super Saiyan 1, his flying speed was extremely fast. In a short time, he had collected dozens of meteorites. When it reached Li Ziming's hand, it was still bright red and the temperature was extremely high. It seemed that he would have to wait for a while. After putting them into the system backpack, Li Ziming was also very curious whether he could survive in the universe. He simply flew directly into the universe. His body instantly suffered from oppression and cold, but for Li Ziming, it was just some water. Although there is little air, the oxygen stored in Li Ziming's body can keep him running for several years. But most importantly, he saw the ingredients in those universes. The solar system is still the same, with the same normal coefficients, but Li Ziming can see the ingredients countless light years away with the help of the eternal kaleidoscope. A gigantic turtle, almost the size of the sun, swam freely in the galaxy, taking a bite of a pellet planet and then shooting a star jellyfish in the head. And those countless huge starry sky jellyfish are constantly wriggling with the cosmic wind, drifting towards an unknown planet. There are even space fish living in the universe, emitting a breath of light, and countless schools of fish gather together like a meteor. Li Ziming even saw a snake, a huge snake, swallowing a planet in one bite and even starting to prey on the turtle. Cosmic Taipan Snake, Starry Sky Giant, Capture Level, 530,000. Coming back to his senses, Li Ziming looked at the scene just now and was very excited. This world is indeed extraordinary. Any cosmic creature has a capture level of 530,000. Who knows if there is a stronger one? It was this capture level that reminded Li Ziming of an old friend, the one who destroyed planet Vegeta. With my current strength, I should be able to get revenge. It seems like it's time to go back to the Dragon Ball world. I just don't know if Frieza can eat it, and what it would taste like. Li Ziming gets excited just thinking about it. It seems like he can try it then. Charcoal grilled king. Just thinking about it makes him excited. After catching it, you can also go to the underworld, sit under the big tree, listen to the singing, and grill over charcoal, he 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 he. Afterwards, Li Ziming returned to Earth, recovered to normal, and returned to the vegetable sky with the meteorite apple pie. The four people here at this moment were looking at him in disbelief, with mixed feelings in their hearts. They had thought that he was strong, but they didn't expect him to be so strong. Typing, I'm convinced, Li Ziming, you're such a pervert. Toriko, you made the earth shake. You are awesome. Zebra, Tisk, you're awesome. Komatsu, Abba, 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 Abba. Seeing the four people like this, Li Ziming also smiled. This is not the full extent of his strength. He still has the Kaioken that is not useful. And this Super Saiyan 1 is just the beginning. In the future there will be Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, and the handsome Super Saiyan 4. The future Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, and so on are still waiting for him. After saying that, Li Ziming took out the meteorite apple pie captured from the sky. This is a very rare delicacy. Seeing this scene, everyone gathered around and looked at the red meteorite apple pie, which was emitting amazing warmth. At the same time, the fragrance of apples began to spread. After a while, when the temperature dissipated, they picked up a meteorite apple pie and started eating it. Take a big bite, the golden and crispy crust is baked very crispy, and every bite makes a crisp sound. There is also sweet and juicy apple filling in it, which tastes very sweet and makes everyone feel indescribable happiness. Eat some apple pie and drink some sweet cola. Yummy. A perfect match. While they were enjoying the delicious meteorite apple pie, the whole world was in an uproar, because the aura of Li Ziming's transformation into a Super Saiyan had spread throughout the entire earth and was noticed by all the strong people. Igo Yulong, you have become stronger again. It seems that the future still belongs to the young people. Bishokyukai Midora, it's that kid. Looks like we need to find time to talk. Neo Jiaoye, impossible, how could there be such a strong person on earth? Blue Neteros, I have a bad feeling, we need to act quickly. Chapter 143. 6 o'clock in the morning. Li Ziming woke up from his castle in the air. After transforming into a Super Saiyan yesterday, they had a feast of delicious food and ate until 11 or 12 o'clock before sending them away. When I walked out of the bedroom, the sun had just risen. It was a real pleasure to watch the sunrise at an altitude of 10,000 meters. After watching the sunrise, it was time to harvest. These days, thanks to Typing's careful care, the vegetables had grown some new growth. Li Ziming simply took out the iridium sickle and started harvesting. He put the crops into the system backpack while eating breakfast. These vegetables are really good stuff. They are hundreds of times more delicious than the vegetables in the Dragon Ball world. They are perfect to take back as souvenirs. Although I can materialize some of it, that is my own energy, and I am not without food. After working for most of the day, Li Ziming harvested all the newly grown vegetables, and also picked a lot of ozone grass. Now I can leave. There are many delicious foods in my backpack, which should be enough for everyone in the Dragon Ball world to eat. Calculating the time, the day when Vegeta and the others will come is almost here. After leaving a letter for Typing, Li Ziming asked the system to send him away and return to the Dragon Ball world. In the blink of an eye, Li Ziming returned to the Dragon Ball world. Looking at the surrounding scene, it was King Kai's planet where Goku and the others were still training. They were very happy to see Li Ziming coming. Especially Wukong, who immediately rushed towards Li Ziming. Uncle Tachi, you're finally back. When you were away, my stomach would growl every night. Wukong, what you said is like I didn't give you food. When King Kai saw Goku like this, he scolded him angrily, and then looked at Li Ziming with a smile. Ziming, do you have any more popcorn? Give me some more. Seeing this, Bobris and Gurgs came over and pointed at the rainbow juice next to them. Their intention was obvious, they were thirsty. After seeing their appearance, Li Ziming couldn't help but laugh. It was still the same Goku, but who would have thought that King Kai and the others had also turned into foodies? Yes, there must be. There are others. As he spoke, Li Ziming took out the BB popcorn and the popcorn cactus he got in the desert and gave them to taste one by one. After King Kai ate it, he instantly fell in love with it. This popcorn with different flavors is, I have to say, quite delicious. Seeing this scene, Wukong also came over to taste it, and then came to a conclusion, eat it like a bucket. Li Ziming, who saw this scene, then took out some cola and poured a glass for each of them. Several people were instantly attracted by the crackling and bubbling sweet cola. They put down the popcorn in their hands, took it over and started to taste it. Then, one by one, they immersed themselves in the delicious taste of sweet cola. This cola was really delicious. How could you drink Coke without fried food? Li Ziming immediately took out a small mountain of fried toad mushrooms and let them taste them. A sip of Coke and a bite of fried food, it feels so good. While eating and drinking, Li Ziming also chatted with King Kai and asked about when Vegeta and the others would come to Earth. King Kai also controlled his antenna and began to look for Vegeta and the others. Soon, he found the flying spaceship. It's estimated that they will arrive on Earth in about 30 days. After hearing this, Li Ziming also understood. Although he looked at Wukong's combat power, it had reached 10,000 before leaving. Now that he has been training for such a long time, has the gravity room and senzu beans, plus he has so many delicious foods, Goku's combat power has reached more than 20,000, which is enough to deal with Vegeta and others. Just wait for Vegeta to come and let Goku crush his self-esteem as a Saiyan prince. I hope Vegeta won't get his heart broken and never recover from it. But you have to be careful, because by then Vegeta will create an artificial moon and transform into a giant Saiyan ape, and his combat power will increase tenfold. I guess Goku will not be his opponent. It is possible to pull out Goku's tail, but it seems to have been sealed by the gods. It seems that we can go find the gods instead. Li Ziming then called Wukong and asked him if he wanted to go back to Earth. No need for that. The Saiyans will be here soon. I have to keep getting stronger. Seeing Goku's serious look, Li Ziming wanted to tell him that his strength was enough to deal with Vegeta, but after thinking about it, he decided not to. Okay, but you need to go to the god and ask him to remove the seal on your tail. Tail. Yes, the tail is one of our Saiyan strengths. With it, our strength can be greatly improved. After hearing this, Goku remembered that after he lost his tail, not only did his strength decrease, but he couldn't even walk properly. So this is what happened. Wukong readily agreed to this. After all, if he could improve his strength as much as possible, he would do so. After saying that, Li Ziming said something to King Kai who was eating and drinking over there, and then left with Goku. Okay, click, click, go early and come back early, Kazaki Kazaki. The two of them opened and closed their eyes, and then came to the Temple of Heaven. Here, Krillin, Tien Shinyan and others were also training diligently on the rooftop. Their strength has also increased a bit, and each of them has reached more than 1,000. Only Jiaozi and Yajirobe are a little weaker and have not yet broken 1,000. Several people were also very surprised to see Li Ziming and Wukong appear. They hadn't seen them for a long time. Wukong, Li Ziming, you are back. How's your training with King Kai going? Krillin and the others immediately stepped forward to ask after seeing this. It's okay. My strength is several times stronger than before, but I'm still probably no match for those Saiyans. Hearing this, Krillin and the others were dumbfounded. Goku was several times stronger than before, but he was still no match for those Saiyans. How strong must they be? The morale of the crowd was gradually declining. Seeing this scene, Wukong quickly expressed Li Ziming's thoughts. Don't worry, Ziming said that if my tail came back, I would probably be able to defeat those Saiyans. Tail. Hearing the word tail, Krillin and the others were instantly terrified. Come to think of it, they had all seen what Goku looked like as the Saiyan giant ape, and that scene would never be forgotten in their lifetime. At the same time, they also became excited. Yes, Goku, the Saiyan giant ape, is also very powerful. It seems that his strength can be greatly increased. Krillin immediately ran into the temple of the gods and called out the god and Popo. He was very surprised to see Goku and Li Ziming, but after learning of their request, his eyes lit up. Then the gods immediately lifted the seal on Goku's tail. Although the seal was lifted, his tail did not appear. But for some reason, Wukong always had a bad feeling. Just because he saw Li Ziming, he took out a big pair of pliers. Chapter 144. When Wukong saw Li Ziming's big pincers, he instantly felt creepy. When he thought about using this thing to pull out his tail, he immediately covered his butt. Li Ziming also walked to Wukong while laughing. The sound made by his big pincers was very crisp, and he couldn't help swallowing. This is not good, Uncle Tachi, why don't you just forget it? How can you just let it go? It's good for your strength. Don't worry, you can't do that. Just be obedient. Ha ha ha. He he he. Ha ha ha. Ya ha he, wow ha ha. Wukong looked at the people around him. Not only Li Ziming was smiling, but his friends around him were also looking at him with their faces lowered and smiling. He was so scared that he immediately flew up and flew towards a distance. These people were so scary. Did he have to pull his tail like this? But the next second, Wukong, who was flying in the sky, felt a pain in his tail, and saw that Li Ziming, who was originally on the ground, had come behind him. The tail was also pulled out a little by the big pincers. Li Ziming saw that Wukong stopped flying and looked at him in confusion. Fly, keep going, it will be out soon. It hurts, Uncle Tachi, is there any other way? Yes, I have. Just when Wukong really thought of another painless method, Li Ziming kicked him directly and sent him flying. The tail was also clamped out with the big pliers, but unfortunately, it was less than half of Li Ziming's tail, so it obviously needed more work. When Wukong saw his outstretched foot, he couldn't help but ask Li Ziming to stop kicking. Yamalu, stop it, I was wrong, let me do it myself. Goku suddenly exploded with energy, and his combat power of more than 20,000 was released instantly, and then he flew forward. He cried and endured the pain. Fortunately, his efforts paid off. Soon his tail came out and Li Ziming loosened the big clamp. Soon, Wukong jumped out. Only then did he realize that his tail was back. He touched his tail excitedly, as if he was meeting an old friend. Seeing this scene, Li Ziming was also very relieved. It finally came out. He thought that now Wukong would be able to grow faster. I think he won't be at a disadvantage when dealing with Vegeta in the future. However, after Goku transforms into a Saiyan giant ape, he may lose his mind and go berserk. It seems that he needs to practice this aspect. Looking back, I will teach him the etiquette of eating. After the physical exercise, we must also have spiritual exercise. Or you can improve Goku's Saiyan bloodline and arrange for the shiny silk foot fish. If that doesn't work, you can also give him the energy bone tongue fish to eat. I originally wanted to save it for myself, but I can already transform into a Super Saiyan 1, so I should be able to cook it sometime later. Afterwards, Li Ziming brought Wukong back to the Temple of Heaven. When everyone saw that Wukong had grown a tail, they couldn't help but gather around him. Some are afraid, some are curious, and some don't care. However, now that Goku's tail has come out, I think his strength will be further improved. After everyone reminisced for a while, Li Ziming said to Wukong, why don't you go home and take a look at Gohan's training results? Hearing this, Goku also became excited. He hadn't seen them for a long time and didn't know how Chi-Chi and Gohan were doing now. It was time to meet them. Li Ziming and Goku then said goodbye to their friends and teleported to Piccolo and Raditz. The two of them were seen standing together, looking at Gohan not far away, beating up Terror Eye and eating its tail meat, just like Goku did back then. It seems that the two of them trained Gohan in the same way, both of them were free range. After all, one is a Saiyan and the other is a fighting Namek. Noticing the presence of the two, they turned around and looked at them, one nervous and the other excited. After all, only Piccolo was not a Saiyan. Afterwards, Raditz saw that Goku's tail had grown, and he was very excited. After all, this was the characteristic of them, the Saiyans. You finally have a tail, Kakarot. This is what it means to be a Saiyan. If Uncle Tachi hadn't said that this would increase my combat power, I wouldn't have wanted it. It's troublesome to take care of, and I can't even sleep lying down. Raditz was furious when he saw Goku with a look of disgust on his face. This stupid brother was really stupid. Fortunately, Li Ziming showed up and interrupted them, and then asked about Gohan's training. He's okay. Although he was very weak at the beginning, he can still burst out with strength when he encounters danger. His strength is also good, but he just can't control it. Kakarot is still too spoiled. Humph. Wukong, blame me. Don't you dare say that in front of Chi-Chi. Raditz, humph, I won't bother with you. Bick and I, one played the good cop and the other played the bad cop, which helped him become self-sufficient and start training himself in wilderness survival. But later, I really admired this name Kian. Raditz instantly pointed at Piccolo next to him and looked at it with an indignant look, not only because of anything else, but also because it was just a few days after the start. He and Gohan transformed into giant Saiyan apes because of the full moon night. For some reason, when Piccolo saw it, he smashed the entire moon with one blow, preventing them from transforming. Hearing this, Ziming also looked up at the sky. The original position of the moon was now filled with lunar debris and only some dust remained. Seeing this, Ziming's mouth twitched involuntarily. As a satellite surrounding the Earth, the moon has suffered a lot. It is destroyed every now and then. But at this time, Piccolo was also extremely angry, and immediately began to refute. How dare you say that to me? If I hadn't smashed the moon, one of you Saiyans would have died and the other would have been injured. It would have been fine if Gohan had lost control on his own, but why did you lose control too? The entire Earth was almost destroyed by you. It's not like you don't know your own strength. I was training Gohan's giant ape form. Ah, yes, beat him to death. If I hadn't helped, he would have died. After hearing what Piccolo said, Ziming also reacted. It turned out that Raditz had not yet consolidated his strength at the beginning. When he transformed into a giant Saiyan ape, he realized his own power for the first time, and seeing Gohan as a big punching bag, he wanted to test his strength. As a result, he accidentally used too much force and almost killed Gohan, so Piccolo destroyed the moon and turned them back. It seems that Goku is not the only one who needs mental training, Raditz also needs it. But at this moment, Gohan also heard the sound of the two arguing, and immediately flew over to try to stop the fight. Then I saw Goku. Oh Do-san! Chapter 145. Oh Do-san! The moment Gohan saw Goku, he instantly became happy, because he hadn't seen his father for a long time. Excited, he immediately rushed towards Wukong, laughing and then crying. His emotions fluctuated greatly and his speed increased accordingly. At this time, Ziming also sensed Gohan's combat power, which had soared to around 3,000. One can imagine how difficult this period of time had been. It turned out that it was only with Piccolo's training that his fighting power was continuously improved to around 2,000. Now with Raditz's intervention, it has actually increased a bit more. But Ziming knows that this is not all of Gohan's strength. After his potential is stimulated by the elders of Namek, his strength will increase dozens of times. He is indeed the most promising Saiyan. Just as he was thinking this, Gohan rushed into Goku's arms and began to cry loudly. It can be imagined how much Gohan missed his father. Seeing this, Wukong immediately comforted him. Although it was his first time being a father, under the influence of Chi-Chi, he also learned some parenting knowledge. Seeing this, Piccolo and Raditz stopped arguing and looked at the father and son. Of course, they still cared about their fighting ability, and Gohan's strength turned out to be even stronger. It seems that Gohan's potential is unfathomable. He is so capable at only a few years old. He will surely become the strongest person in the universe in the future. With Goku's constant comfort, Gohan slowly calmed down. Then he remembered the quarrel between Piccolo and Raditz and immediately looked at each other. Uncle Piccolo, uncle, please stop arguing, I will train you well. Okay, no more quarreling, we won't quarrel anymore. Seeing such a well-behaved Gohan, Raditz immediately laughed, while Piccolo snorted and looked at the clouds in the sky, so white. Ziming couldn't help but laugh when he saw this. Piccolo is so arrogant. Doesn't he know that arrogance is out of favor? Now that he was back, Gohan and Goku didn't have to practice for a while, so Ziming prepared to hold a banquet to reward the Z-warriors on Earth. When Ziming proposed this idea, 4 pairs of eyes instantly turned to him, 3 of them drooled, and one of them's stomachs growled. Seeing this scene, Ziming also laughed. These people actually turned into foodies. Although all Saiyans are like this, he didn't expect Piccolo to be like this. You're all hungry, right? Then go back and eat. Then, Ziming also brought 4 people back to Baizai Mountain. He originally thought that only Chi-Chi was at home, but who would have thought that Bulma was also there? When they saw several people coming out, their eyes were filled with joy, and Chi-Chi even hugged Gohan into her arms. Gohan, my Gohan, you've suffered. Mom, I'm fine. I'm going to help Dad and defeat those bad guys. Hearing this, Chi-Chi felt very sorry for Gohan, but at this moment, his stomach began to growl. Seeing this, Chi-Chi immediately prepared to cook for her son, so that he could eat well. At this moment, Li Ziming called Kikai, not because of anything else, but because he had already prepared the ingredients. Li Ziming then took out countless sweet potatoes and vegetables from the vegetable paradise from his backpack. Each one was so juicy that everyone was dazzled by the sight. More importantly, those giant vegetables and fruits, giant melons, giant cauliflowers, etc., are all bigger than Goku's house. There are also green onions that are more than 10 meters tall, French fries, and so on. Everyone present was amazed at the size of the food. At the same time, a sense of freshness unique to vegetables hit them, and everyone began to salivate. Li Ziming asked a few people to eat first while he went to bring back the Z warriors. He could hold a lively banquet and let them practice with him for a few days to see if he could activate his gourmet cells. Soon he teleported to the Temple of the Gods. Looking at the few people who were still exercising, Li Ziming stopped them and told them about holding a banquet. After hearing this, several people were naturally very eager to get together. After all, they hadn't been together for a long time. They wanted to eat and drink together to strengthen their relationship. Seeing this, Li Ziming also invited the gods and Mr. Bobo to join, but they refused after hearing it. Although he was puzzled, he still left some fresh vegetables, fried chicken, cola, and other dishes before leaving. It seemed that the god was very helpless, but the upward curve of his mouth hinted at his happy thoughts. Only Mr. Bobo was surprised and puzzled at the fresh food. Li Ziming then led everyone back to Baizai Mountain. When they came back, the people here also had a hearty meal. Goku and Raditz were chewing on giant cauliflowers, Gohan and Piccolo were chewing onions, and Bulma and Chi-Chi were eating with cucumbers in their left hands and radishes in their right hands, with big mouthfuls of food. After seeing this, Tien Shinyan, Yamcha and Jiaozi were also confused. What was going on? How could there be such big vegetables? Why did they eat them so deliciously? The moment Krillin saw it, he realized that this was the delicacy that Li Ziming had brought out, so he immediately started eating the vegetables. While eating, he looked at the others and said, "Why are you still standing there? Eat, Super Invincible is really delicious." Although they were puzzled, they picked up the food and started eating when they saw everyone enjoying the meal. The next second, their eyes lit up and they joined in the feast. Seeing their appearance, Li Ziming was very pleased. It was worth it for him to bring these fresh vegetables here. Watching them eat, Li Ziming took out the century soup. The pot was transparent, but the aurora began to appear. Everyone then smelled the scent, finished the vegetables in their hands, and rushed towards Li Ziming. "What's that smell? It smells so good. And there's the aurora. It's amazing. This is the soup of the century. Come on, have a bowl each and enjoy." Afterwards, Li Ziming scooped a bowl for everyone, but they were very confused when they saw it. It was empty, so why was there an aurora? But then it shook and ripples appeared. It turned out that it was too transparent, so I couldn't see it. After smelling the fragrance, everyone started drooling and then started drinking it. It didn't matter if they drank it all, because it was so delicious. After a few bites, everyone showed satisfied smiles on their faces, but the next second. First, Goku's face became funny and vulgar, then Piccolo's, and then everyone present. They all started laughing, and Li Ziming immediately took out his cell phone and took a picture of each of them. Ha ha ha, it was so funny. Li Ziming could imagine that in the future Whis and Beerus would come, and after he served them a bowl of rice, they would both giggle. But soon after drinking the century soup, everyone's stomach started growling. Chapter 146. After everyone finished eating these fresh vegetables and the delicious world soup, they immediately felt the primitive power coming from beneath their bodies. They immediately started looking for a toilet, but the toilet in Wukong's house had already been occupied by Wukong. Seeing this, Bulma immediately took out a few universal capsules and threw them out. They instantly turned into RVs and mansions, standing here. She rushed in immediately, and when others saw this, they also rushed into the RV and the house to find the toilet. As for those who didn't get any, they scattered around with the papers, adding to the natural beauty of Baizai Mountain. Soon, everyone came out relaxed, feeling extremely comfortable, and their bodies felt warm, as if they had been strengthened. After seeing their condition, Li Ziming smiled slightly. It would be strange if these high-quality vegetables and ingredients such as century soup were not in good health. Even after Toriko and the others drank it, the gourmet cells in their bodies were strengthened one by one, not to mention ordinary people and scions like them. According to the game's settings, these are all delicacies that can permanently increase attributes. But as long as you awaken your gourmet cells and eat the delicacies of the gourmet world for a long time, you can live for a long time, even if you can't achieve immortality. Hundreds of years are no big deal. It can also keep your body young, make you look more handsome, increase your appetite, make your skin more elastic, and even your offspring can be born with gourmet cells. It can be said that when the wind rises and the clouds fly, how can we find brave warriors to guard the four directions? We must have gourmet cells, but it is just a matter of time. At this moment, Raditz and the others also felt the improvement in their strength. Although it was small, it was constantly improving. They were very excited for a moment. Soon they turned their attention to the delicious food in front of them and Ziming. Could it be possible that these ingredients can increase strength? You just discovered it. I thought you discovered it last time. Hearing this, Krillin also remembered that the last time he ate Ziming's food at Master Roshi's place, his strength improved the next day. He thought it was the result of his training, but he didn't expect it was these ingredients. For a moment, everyone was very moved that Ziming would actually give them such food. Although the food is good, don't be greedy. Of course, except for the scions, we are born to eat. As for you, just eat enough and eat well. Okay. Soon, everyone who had digested the food started eating again. After all, such delicious food is rare, and most importantly, it can increase one's strength. Seeing everyone eating so happily, Ziming was also wondering whether he should ask Netero and the others for some gourmet cell seeds after the gourmet world ended. At that time, it will be directly injected into the earth of the Dragon Ball world, turning this place into a food world. Although it will take a little longer, we have Dragon Balls, which will speed up the time to learn about it. I think so, but it may take some time. After all, it will take a few years for God to appear and for those blue Netero to take action. After eating and drinking, everyone collapsed on the ground. Everyone was full and motionless. At this time, Ziming also said to everyone that he wanted to take them to practice for a while to see if they were willing. Your strength may not improve much, but the important thing is to control your own power and make your spirit stronger. Of course, I provide meals. Hearing this, the Z warriors all raised their hands. It was obvious that they no longer cared about the increase in strength. It still had to be food. After all, no matter how much they increased, they could not beat these scions. Ziming was also very happy to see their hands raised. Although the Z warriors' combat effectiveness was not high, they were all among the best talents on Earth. Although there is a limit here, maybe I can become a god or something in the future, which is also very good. The banquet ended here, and darkness gradually enveloped the earth. Ziming then sent the Z warriors to the Temple of Heaven to rest. Then he sent Bulma back home, but this time he didn't leave immediately. Bulma, how many of those empty universal capsules and house universal capsules do you have? I want to buy a batch from you. No, why would you pay for this? I'll just give you a few sets to play with. I want a lot, are you sure? How much do you want? Bulma asked with a puzzled look. Ziming stretched out a hand and clenched it into a fist. Only children make choices, I want them all. Ha! You're kidding. Give me some houses like that. I want a few thousand or tens of thousands. And those motorcycles and sports cars, too. Try to use the universal capsule technology. Why do you need so much? Is something big going to happen? Secret. Seeing Ziming like this, Bulma also snorted directly, but his needs would be met, but the prerequisite was that he had to pay with something. When Bulma asked this question, Ziming also took out his harvest from the world of food, a pile of crab-like gem crab shells, various gems, and gold sand. Seeing so many rare metals and gems, Bulma was completely stunned. She really didn't expect there would be so many. Originally, I went to see Chi-Chi to hear her say that after Goku and Gohan become stronger, they should dig some minerals and find some oil to supplement the family income. Who would have thought that Ziming would actually take out so many precious gemstones and metals, and each one was so big? If his sisters knew about this, they would immediately rush over to grab the gems and make them into decorations. Sell all of these for me, and then the money for the universal capsules will be deducted from this. If it's not enough, you can come to me. If it's enough, just give the rest of the money to Kikai. When Bulma heard this, she quickly said that enough was enough, and she was also happy for Chi-Chi. Now Goku and his family have finally become rich. Those few big gems alone were enough to buy all his universal capsules. Even though they looked a little strange, they were enough, not to mention the other gems and gold sand. Okay, I'll help you sell these and exchange them for equivalent universal capsules. It probably won't take long. Okay, thank you, Bulma. No, I should thank you. After all, the fee is quite high. Bulma also looked at Ziming with a smile. She was originally a beautiful girl full of youth, and after eating those fresh vegetables, she became even more beautiful. A smile also appeared on Ziming's lips. After looking at each other, he teleported away and went back to pack up and have a sleep so that he could train the Z warriors tomorrow. P.S. There is only one chapter today, there may be another chapter later. I am not in good condition, I stayed up late again. Don't stay up late, folks. Chapter 147. The next morning, Ziming brought Goku and Gohan to the Temple of Heaven, only to see the Z warriors already standing there, waiting for them to arrive. Ziming was very happy to see them get up so early, but what made him curious was why the God of Heaven and Mr. Bobo also got up so early and looked at him with their bright eyes. The god suddenly appeared in front of him and looked at Ziming with a smile on his face. The food yesterday was so delicious. I have never eaten it on Earth before. It was so delicious. Thank you. You're welcome. After hearing these words, Ziming understood that the reason why the gods got up so early was probably because they were greedy and wanted to eat those delicious foods. Although he said he would provide meals for them, now they have to wait until they have done their morning exercises before Ziming will give them food. It depends on whether they can do it. After that, he asked everyone to come in front of him and explain to them what the exercise they were going to do was. That is the meaning of food. After hearing these two words, several people were very confused. What is this food meaning and why do they need to practice this kind of practice? But when I think about how strong Ziming has become and how he has produced so many delicacies, I guess it has something to do with this kind of food ethics. Afterwards, Ziming briefly explained to everyone the concept of the meaning of food, being grateful for all things, being thankful for the ingredients, and being thankful for every delicacy that one has ever eaten. Get rid of all distracting thoughts and leave only the thought of gratitude. After practicing the meaning of food, not only can one reduce the speed of one's attacks, but one can also increase the power, maximizing the attack while improving one's combat effectiveness and concentration. After hearing this, everyone was immediately excited. If this was true, then their strength would increase significantly and they would be able to deal with more crises. The next step, Ziming took out Shishin's heart-seeking pen and spoke to everyone. This is the first lesson in practicing the virtues of food, food zen. After lighting this pen tip grass, it can peek into your heart. All you have to do is put your hands together, keep a grateful thought, and get rid of all other distracting thoughts. Then Ziming asked everyone to sit on the ground, placed a piece of heart-seeing pen grass in front of each person, and then told them the key points of practicing food zen. Everyone nodded after hearing this. As long as they could become stronger and protect the earth, they could withstand any kind of practice. Seeing that everyone began to put their hands together, Ziming also lit the heart-seeing pen grass for them, and the practice of food zen officially began. But just after it was lit, within 5 seconds, Radit's mind-reading pen went out. One can imagine the turmoil in his heart. Then, one after another, starting with Raditz, Yamcha, Krillin, Tien Shinyan, and others, gradually went out. But what Ziming didn't expect was that Goku and Gohan were the ones who were extinguished in the end, but they lasted for about a minute. After thinking about it, Ziming figured it out. After all, in Goku's mind, there are only 3 things: eating, sleeping, and fighting. He cares very much about becoming stronger, and he has already learned the spirit bomb. In summary, he is still too naive. The same goes for Gohan. After all, the child is too young, and the habits he has formed also motivate him to concentrate on one thing without wavering in his ideas. Seeing that everyone had persisted for such a long time, Ziming also encouraged them in time. "Oh my, let me see who has been holding out for so long. It turns out to be a kid. You guys are not as good as Gohan. You guys are making it very difficult for me. Are you going to eat breakfast or not?" After that, Ziming took out a cup of sweet cola and drank it, then said to everyone, "Want to eat the same delicious food as yesterday? If you want to eat, go ahead. Hold on for half an hour and I'll give you food. When everyone heard Li Ziming's words, they were all very excited for a moment. Yesterday's food was extremely delicious. Just thinking about it made their mouths water. After quickly swallowing his saliva, he continued to practice food meditation. After Li Ziming lit their mind seeing pen grasses one by one, everyone also entered into a state of meditation. Fortunately, the Z warriors were very strong this time, and each of them persisted for more than a minute. Although it was still a bit difficult, Li Ziming felt that they could hold on. As expected, under the temptation of delicious food, they persisted for about 10 minutes this time before some of them lost their sparks. I'm talking about Raditz and Yam Sha. To be honest, Li Ziming didn't expect that the two of them could stick together for so long. After all, one is an arrogant person at heart, and the other is a big pervert. It is already very good that he can last for 10 minutes, but it is still a little short. After letting them rest for a while and lighting the fire for them again, Li Ziming looked at Goku and Gohan. It was estimated that these two were the ones who could hold out the longest. Soon, the others could not hold on any longer and began to burn out one by one, except for the heart-seeing pen grass in front of the two people, which remained standing. Li Ziming was also very satisfied when he saw this. Soon, half an hour was up, but the two's food zen had not yet ended. It was conceivable that they were really grateful for the ingredients and all things. Looking at them, and then looking at them again, Li Ziming understood the gap at a glance, the gap between a genius and an alien genius. Especially Gohan, the half-Saiyan. Looking at his young age, Li Ziming feels that he might be surpassed by Gohan one day, so he needs to work hard. A few hours later, it was noon, and the Z warriors broke through themselves and successfully maintained Zen for more than half an hour. After all, they are both geniuses and freaks, so it's no surprise that Li Ziming has been able to maintain his Zen state for so long. Now that the food Zen is over, it's time to eat. As for the ingredients, Li Ziming has also prepared the traditional delicacies of Shilin Temple. That is a jar of egg rice for each person. As a food ingredient for the practice of Shilin Temple, of course everyone has to have a taste of it. He said he prepared it himself, but actually Li Ziming returned to Shilin Temple yesterday and took it out from the kitchen. He also thoughtfully wrote a card. The ingredients you prepared are very good. I even liked it and ate it. So let me tell you. The phantom thieves of food are here. Acting teacher Fan Jiu. When everyone saw the jars of egg rice, they rushed over excitedly. This was the food they wanted to eat. When Li Ziming saw how they were, he gave each of them a bowl and chopsticks and told them to pick up as much as they could eat. But the prerequisite is that you use the minimum amount of force to pick it up. If you use a little force, the egg and rice will break, which will cause a chain reaction and turn the meal into air. After hearing this, everyone realized the special nature of this egg rice and began to try it. Crack, crack, P.S. I will sleep well today, not stay up late, and never procrastinate. Chapter 148. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound, and saw crackling sounds coming from the vat on Raditz's side. Apparently he moved too much, and the egg rice in the vat broke into pieces. Raditz saw everyone looking at him, and said in embarrassment, "Look at me, what am I doing? Try it yourself, it's something that will break if you touch it." Tisk seeing this, the Z warriors naturally couldn't believe it. They thought it must be because Raditz used too much force. If they were to do it, they would probably be able to pick the egg rice out. As they talked, they started to pick up the egg rice, but when everyone put down their chopsticks, the sound of eggs breaking was heard from the jar. "Listen, the sound of eggs breaking, how could you be so careless now you have no food to eat?" A crackling sound was heard, and everyone looked at the empty rice jar and fell into deep thought, including Gohan and Goku. At this moment, Raditz jumped out and taunted, "You guys can do it, why didn't you pick up any of them? Ah, speak up, Toriko, speak up." Seeing how energetic he was, everyone couldn't help but clench their hands, but after thinking about it, they realized they couldn't beat him and could only let him mock them. When Li Ziming saw them like this, although he had expectations, he didn't expect that everyone would fail. There was no way, egg rice was such a special ingredient, 1 grain at a time, 1 grain at a time. Since they failed, they have no food to eat, so now, let's move on to the next project. That is, the posture of expressing gratitude must be correct. Then, Li Ziming took out the cactus of gratitude, which he had moved here with great difficulty and was almost discovered. "This one looks great thanks to the cactus. I took it back to practice. Let me tell you. The phantom thieves of food are here. Deputy Teacher Fanchiu, you scored twice, didn't you? Seeing Li Ziming took out a cactus, everyone was very confused. Did he want them to eat the cactus as brunch? That was not impossible, as they hadn't eaten anyway. Upon seeing this, everyone prepared to come over to take a look and see where to start. Since Li Ziming could take it out, it must taste good. But the next second, a long needle shot out from the gratitude cactus and directly pierced the temple of the god in the distance, and a line of blood also appeared from Yam Sha's body. They were instantly frightened. What on earth was this thing? It could attack. Could it be a ferocious beast? Seeing how timid everyone was, Li Ziming simply explained to them some of the next training content. Since you didn't get to eat, then continue to practice. This is to thank the cactus, which is here to help you understand the meaning of food. Then, Li Ziming demonstrated to everyone how to practice the posture of eating righteousness. Put your hands together and bow. I want to express my gratitude to all the food in this world. I'm going to eat. The next second, thanks to the cactus, countless needles shot out, flew past Li Ziming, and nailed to the wall of the heavenly temple not far away. Wukong and others who saw this scene couldn't help but shudder. Could it be that they would have to do the same posture in a while? If they were not careful, they might have 2 more holes on their bodies. Is this really necessary? Yes, don't worry, I'm here, it's all accidents. No, there are no accidents. Don't worry, we still have a lot of senzu beans here, so practice boldly. After hearing this, everyone felt relieved, but they were still a little scared. After all, who wouldn't be scared of being pierced through the body? Afterwards, Li Ziming also let everyone try it first, and then used the touch method to check everyone's posture and adjust their posture. Li Ziming corrected it slowly, and everyone tried to remember it with their bodies. After a while, everyone had their first attempt. The first person to come on stage was Yam Sha. Li Ziming still hoped to have a good start so that they would remember it completely with their body and soul. He came to the cactus to thank it, put his hands together and bowed, but the next second, his thigh was pricked by a needle. In an instant, he started screaming in pain, and a blood mark appeared at the root of his thigh, which was painful just by looking at it. Yam Sha felt that if the cactus needles were a little crooked, his life would be in danger. He instantly felt creepy. Upon seeing this, Li Ziming simply pulled him out immediately. It was obvious that he still needed to practice more. Seeing Yam Sha like this, everyone's hair stood on end. They thought it would be horrible, but they didn't expect it to be so horrible that it almost pierced through the wall of the temple of the gods. Next one. As Li Ziming's voice rang out, everyone's bodies shook violently, and it was obvious that they were still very panicked. This time it was Wukong. He was very good at these postures, and as soon as he landed, he performed a perfect set of thank you postures. The next second, countless needles flew past Wukong. Although it was very standardized, there was still room for improvement. After all, there were still many holes in his clothes. Then it was the turn of the others, who lined up one by one. Most of them failed to replicate the perfect thank you gesture, except Gohan. Like Goku, he took it seriously and quickly learned the gesture of gratitude. He came to the thank you cactus and performed a perfect replica without suffering any damage, including his clothes. It seems that I still underestimated Gohan's talent. In this case, I need to go back as soon as possible and get some things to enhance his Saiyan bloodline. It would be best if he could control his transformation into a giant ape. Soon, thanks to the cactus, the test was completed, and everyone was injured, but fortunately, they were all relatively minor. With the gods here, their injuries recovered quickly, and Mr. Bobo on the side was also looking at the cactus curiously. Ever since Li Ziming started teaching them that thing called Shi Yi, it felt a sense of déjà vu. It was a bit like Ultra Instinct, but also a bit like something else, as if it was a prototype of a prototype. Mr. Bobo then shook his head, put this unrealistic idea behind him, and went to repair the wall himself. After thanking the cactus, it is time to move on to the next practice, which is the test of ham roes. Whether or not we can have a meal depends on this wave of them. Although there are no other delicacies, these are enough for them to eat. After all, they are practicing, and only with motivation can they make rapid progress. After taking out the seeds of the ham roes, Li Ziming also took out the solid cloud of the vegetable sky and put the seeds in it. Li Ziming then distributed a flower pot to everyone, asking them to sit on the ground. The seeds in this flower pot are your dinner tonight. What you need is food zen. The more gratitude you radiate, the faster this seed will grow. By the way, there's a whole edible ham rose inside. Chapter 149. After hearing this, everyone began to imagine what this ham-like rose would look like and what would it taste like. The Z warriors were also very curious, but since they wanted to practice, let's start. Everyone immediately began to meditate and express gratitude. The scene was very spectacular. Ziming was also very pleased to see this. It turned out that eating was the primary productive force. Food is the most important thing for people. Firewood, rice, soy sauce, vinegar, and salt are essential for 3 meals a day. More than an hour later, everyone saw that the ham rose in the pot had not sprouted yet. They were very puzzled. Could it be that what Ziming said was false? But in Ziming's opinion, these people still don't have enough Zen, they show too little gratitude, or they are thinking too much. So he took out a delicious ham and placed it in front of himself. This attracted everyone's attention. Unexpectedly, when they looked over, the ham rose in front of Ziming sprouted immediately and then bloomed into a bright red rose. When everyone saw it, they were all in disbelief. There really were roses that looked like ham, and they tasted very fragrant, full of meaty aroma. For a moment, they began to drool as they saw the appearance of ham rose. But he had no choice but to watch Ziming take out the bread, and sandwich the sticking ham rose with its leaves to make a ham sandwich. It's super satisfying after one bite, it's delicious. Seeing Ziming eating with big mouthfuls, everyone was very excited and immediately joined in the practice. They also wanted to eat these delicacies. At this moment, a little green appeared in front of Goku and Gohan. Their ham roses sprouted, which was a cause for celebration. But since it has sprouted, I think it won't be long before the ham rose grows out. At this time, it may be tonight or tomorrow morning. After all, even Toriko and Komatsu took a whole day and a whole night to complete. Taking advantage of this time, Ziming simply started to practice food meditation, and placed dozens of heart-seeing pen grasses around him. As time passed, from day to night, the Z warriors made the ham rose sprout. From night to day, a whole day and night of effort, Gohan and Goku finally succeeded in growing the ham rose. As for the others, they are also growing slowly and it is estimated that they will take another day. Ziming took out some bread and gave it to Goku and Gohan, asking them to eat it with the ham. The two of them took a bite and instantly showed satisfied smiles on their faces. It was delicious, very chewy, and had a unique plant fragrance and a strong meaty aroma. It was really delicious. Other people who smelled the scent nearby were also envious. They were so envious that the ham rose stopped growing. After seeing this, they began to express their gratitude again. After seeing that the two had finished eating, Ziming let them go to rest. The first practice of eating ethics was temporarily over. As for the others, there's something delicious tonight. If it doesn't grow by the evening, don't eat it. After hearing this, everyone immediately expressed a stronger sense of gratitude, and even some buds of the ham rose appeared. It seemed that this stimulation was very good. Taking advantage of this time, Ziming asked the system to send himself back to the food world, ready to capture some food. That is the shiny silk fish, and some other ingredients. I have to go find Tom, after all, he is the largest supplier. Soon, Ziming also teleported to the cave of the shiny silk foot fish, caught dozens of them, and put them in the food preservation box. Now, I believe that with this thing, the S cells in Goku and Gohan's bodies can also be upgraded, and their bloodlines can evolve into superior bloodlines. The Saiyan bloodline has been upgraded, so now he can control his Saiyan giant ape and prevent it from going berserk. Ziming then teleported to the central wholesale market and found Tom. Hey, Tom! Oh my god, you really are elusive, Ziming. Why, what is the matter that you want me to come for this time? It's nothing, I just want to buy some ingredients from you. Hearing this, Tom also touched Ziming's head and said, you don't have a fever. When did the food hunter come to me to buy ingredients? I'm too lazy to go. You have everything here. I'll buy some and try them all. Brother, I have money, black card, don't you know? When Tom heard about the black card, his eyes lit up, and then he brought Ziming to his warehouse. Here, there are food ingredients everywhere, including creatures swimming in the sky, flying on the ground, crawling in the sea, as well as various vegetables and fruits. If you want to see what ingredients you want, please leave a message. Ziming was also very satisfied when he saw these ingredients. He had not spent them properly since he got the black card, so this was a good opportunity to spend them. It's all included. Swipe the card. The boss is generous. Tom immediately took the black card, ran to the side and started swiping the card. Li Ziming just started putting the ingredients into his system backpack. Not long after, Li Ziming got the ingredients and Tom also took out the black card. The total consumption was 50 billion, and the entire consumption was paid by Igo. After taking the black card, Li Ziming took out a cup of sweet cola from his backpack and handed it to Tom. What's this? The best cola in the world, Coca-Cola. Oh my god, what kind of cola is this? Of course, drink slowly, let's go Tom. While Tom was confused, Li Ziming took the ingredients and left, leaving behind a cup of Coke and Tom. I saw him taste it afterwards, and a sense of electric current instantly spread throughout his body. It was so stimulating, so full of energy, and so refreshing. At this moment, Li Ziming secretly teleported back to Shilin Temple. After all, the Z warriors had to practice the righteousness of food, so the food ingredients might be scarce. Then he came to the kitchen and saw a tank full of white fish noodles, which were ready-made ingredients for cultivation, and there was also a lot of camel pudding. Li Ziming started stuffing pudding into the system backpack, left a card of the food thieves, and then left with the white fish noodle bowl. Acting teacher Fan Xiu, I can even get 2 stars. Without rushing back to the Dragon Ball world, Li Ziming also returned to the candy house, where there was an energy bone tongue fish. Looking at him, the original desire had disappeared. Li Ziming had been thinking of eating it himself, but unfortunately there was more than one upgraded ingredient, so this one could be given to the Science. Maybe, this time I can gather my own food demon. Chapter 150. Carrying a large pile of ingredients, Li Ziming returned to the Dragon Ball world. It was still early, and the Z warriors' ham roses had not yet grown out, but they were almost there. Soon, Li Ziming simply began to meditate and wait slowly. As the night sky darkened, the Z warriors' ham roses began to grow one after another. It must be said that although they started late, they could still be considered geniuses. After all, he is not a genius. Basically, he was eliminated based on his combat ability and could not have come here at all. Li Ziming then took out some bread and asked them to eat it with the ham rose in between. Everyone was very excited. Come to think of it. After all, I haven't eaten for 2 days. I can finally taste this unique delicacy. The aroma of bread, mixed with the aroma of ham and roses, the trinity is so fragrant. Everyone then began to taste the food, chewing it slowly and carefully, so that they could taste the hard work of the past few days. Watching them eat, Li Ziming borrowed a kitchen from the gods and started making the shiny silk fish. He heated the oil in a pan and started frying. While frying, he was also thinking about how to cook the energy bony tongue fish. As one of the few remaining in the gourmet world, it must have its unique function. It looks golden and tastes good, and it is also a delicacy that Scions love. It feels like it can be fried, after all, everything can be fried. Sprinkle some milk stars on it, and the fragrance will surely spread from miles away. Li Ziming acted immediately and directly took the energy bony tongue fish out of the water tank. Thanks to all the food in the world, energy bone tongue fish, I'm about to start. It's big enough to be fried in one pan. After sending it to get its lunch box, Li Ziming cut the energy bony tongue fish into more than a dozen pieces, cleaned it briefly, and began to coat it with golden wheat flour. Li Ziming took out a few more Lifang pots, put in more soil, and started frying the shiny silk fish and the energy bony tongue fish at the same time. Because of its large size, it takes a long time to fry. The shiny silk fish over here is fried, but the energy bone tongue fish over there is still a little bit short of it. Helplessly, Li Ziming could only prepare some more batter and start frying some crystal shrimps and other things to make tempura, and of course vegetables. Frying some vegetables is also a good choice. After Li Ziming finished frying, the kitchen was filled with fragrance. Just as he was about to serve the food out, the kitchen door was suddenly opened. A group of people gathered around the door to smell the smell, and the kitchen door could not bear the weight of the crowd, so it was opened. Since they were already there, Li Ziming asked them to bring out the food. When everyone heard this, they immediately came over to help. Soon after, Li Ziming and the other soldiers sat together in the air of the Temple of Heaven, preparing to eat. The sky was full of stars, and they were surrounded by golden light. Looking at the delicious food in the middle, everyone was drooling. But they still resisted the temptation and upheld their food ethics, and no one dared to be the first to eat. Li Ziming smiled slightly upon seeing this. Although there were already a lot of delicious food in front of them, Goku, Gohan and Raditz were able to hold back. It was obvious that the food ethics worked. He took out a piece of milk star, crushed it into powder, and sprinkled it evenly on the fried foods. In a split second, the golden light became brighter and the fragrance became more pronounced. It was obvious that everyone could no longer hold back. Li Ziming then served everyone a piece of glittering silk-foot fish, still hot from the pot, and paired with milk stars, it was full of fragrance. Put your hands together and start giving thanks before eating. Thanks for all the food in the world, I'm going to eat. After that, everyone started to pick up the shiny silk fish impatiently and began to eat it. The moment they put the food in their mouths, happy expressions appeared on their faces. But when Goku, Gohan, and Raditz ate it, golden light began to radiate from their bodies. With every bite, the golden light became brighter. Li Ziming also became excited when he saw this. It seemed that the S cells in their bodies were also awakened and started to eat the gourmet cells. By the time they finish eating, I think the S cells will have evolved and acquired the characteristics of gourmet cells. As for the others, although there was no flash, Li Ziming also noticed something strange about one person, and that was Tian Xinyan. At this moment, his third eye also lit up, obviously the thin three-eyed human blood in his body was stimulated. I think after eating this feast of delicious food, it will also undergo a transformation and its strength will be greatly improved. I just don't know if it can activate its gourmet cells and become a gourmet demon. I feel that Tian Xinyan, the hybrid three-eyed man, is somewhat similar to the food demon from Star Jun. Could it be that if a food demon appears, it will also be three-eyed? The possibility is very high. Everyone devoured the meal mouthful by mouthful, and the Saiyans finished eating the entire fish. The S cells in their bodies evolved, but their strength did not increase much. It felt like they were still a little short of bloodline evolution, but luckily Li Ziming had prepared some fried energy bone-tongue fish, and he directly gave the three of them a large piece of fish. After seeing this, the three of them immediately started eating. The previous shiny silk fish had less meat, unlike this one, which had more meat. Seeing this, Li Ziming also picked up a large piece of fried energy fish and started eating. The moment you put it in your mouth, you'll feel the crispy skin, followed by the tender and fresh fish meat, and you'll feel the chewy texture with every bite. With the addition of milk stars, not only is the taste stronger, but it is also extremely fresh and fragrant. When you put it into your stomach, you can feel that the fish meat is quickly digested and turned into energy that wanders around in your body. Li Ziming could feel that the cells in his body were constantly eating away at his body, as if they had encountered some delicacy and were constantly absorbing nutrients. Although the effect is very good, it is limited to Li Ziming. After all, his blood is already very high, and the energy in his body is also very sufficient. It is nothing more than increasing the energy of some cells. But it was different for Goku, Gohan, and Raditz. The golden light on their bodies gradually dimmed and then disappeared completely. Li Ziming could feel that the blood in their bodies had changed and had begun to upgrade, and they were lacking energy. So I just gave them a large piece of fish and other food for them to eat. Just as they were upgrading their bloodlines, Li Ziming sensed something unusual. Something was actually beginning to form behind the three of them. Under Li Ziming's gaze, as they ate, a tyrannical aura emerged behind the three of them, and then formed three red-eyed, black-haired gorillas. Apparently, not only have their bloodlines been upgraded, but now they have even formed into gourmet demons. This is the benefit of planting trees for future generations to enjoy the shade.
If you're enjoying the story so far and want to hear the next parts, don't forget to like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And if you'd like me to continue the series, drop a comment below letting me know. Your feedback and support keep these audiobooks going strong. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.